Right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the afternoon tune. I'm your host, Josh, and with me is my special guest co-host. I got Sage from Rated M for Immaturity there. How's it going there, Sage?
Hey, doing fantastic. How about yourself?
Pretty good. Got a stacked show today. A lot of stuff to talk about. A lot of good stuff there. Good thing we did that reaction to State of Play there. That
Yeah,
Wednesday it was it Wednesday or Thursday there we did it?
yeah, I think so. Wednesday night.
Yeah, we did that. So yeah, very good that we did that. So we can have a good time to discuss the Summer Game Fest, which also happened this past weekend, and discuss all the big trailers from that. And we got a movie review in Inu-Oh. Got that animated film. Pride Month is upon us there, so reviewing this film for Pride Month there. Also, Sage has his own review of Indiana Jones and the Great Circle there. So he's got his review of that.
Yeah.
And yeah, afterwards we'll go ahead and rate somebody if they're still on. Kara Fly's on right now. Very good streamer there. She's playing. She likes to play Valorant. She likes to play League of Legends there, so she enjoys playing those games. We also have the Chill Spot. The Chill Spot, good guy, friend of the channel there. Very awesome person. Good old Chill Spot. I think last time I saw him, he's watching that Shia LaBeouf movie, the David Ayer one, the Tax Collector. He's watching that.
Mm,
I have not seen that one. I have not seen that David Ayer
I have not either. To be honest, I can't remember the last time. Is that something with Shia LaBeouf in it at all?
film. Last thing I liked with Shia LaBeouf in it, I liked Honey Boy. I like that. I like that movie. But I think he said it or somebody said that movie was bullshit. Like all that stuff. I think he said it that a lot of shit was kind of made up in it or whatever. But I do like that one. I like Honey Boy. Yeah, I'm trying to think of other Shia LaBeouf movies I've seen recently. I'm trying to think. Yeah, yeah. But there's
Last thing
that
I saw him in was probably like Transformers 3.
Transformers
I
Three.
didn't like it.
Well, he was in Indiana Jones back in the day. Speaking of Indiana Jones, he was in that
Sure.
back in the day. He was the son of Indiana Jones uh, back then.
That
So
was one of the many mistakes that movie made.
yeah, he was for a minute. He was like Steven Spielberg's like Leo. It was like Steven Spielberg was like, I got to put this guy in a lot of stuff, and I'm gonna push him.
Oh,
And
I don't know what he saw. I mean, he must have seen something because it's Spielberg,
yeah,
and I just don't. But I don't get it. I don't get it.
because wasn't was he a producer on the Transformers movies or?
He might have been at least on the first one.
I want to say because I forgot who produced those, but I was like, I think that was kind of one of the major reasons he ended up in Transformers. Then he was in that movie. What was that other movie? Yeah, but I think that's kind of one of the major reasons he was kind of in those movies. But Indiana Jones for sure, because that's
Yeah.
yeah Steven Spielberg kind of thing. But
Yes, he did.
okay,
Steven
so yeah,
Spielberg did.
yeah. So he was in so he was like that was like his guy. And he was really pushing him. He's like, okay, I'm gonna have him in all these big movies, and he was like in that Wall Street movie, and he was in Transformers, and he was in Indiana Jones, and all this stuff. But yeah, he just yeah, kind of just went crazy there. He's one of them child star crazy stories there. Sometimes they make it out okay. I think Hillary Duff made it out okay. Uh,
Yeah, I mean, there's a few examples here and there. I mean, K.Q. Kwan seems like a well-adjusted adult.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say another member of the Goonies, but I forgot he kind of had his moments too, Josh Brolin. But he kind of had some bad
Yeah,
stuff
a
go
little bit.
happen. Yeah, he kind of had some struggle with alcohol stuff, but yeah, had
That's
that.
tame as far as child actors go,
Yeah,
though.
that's true.
You know?
Yeah, that's a little bit there. So had that, but yeah. So Kwan, yeah, that's a good example there. Um, mm, uh, now I'm thinking. I think my mind is running through all the crazy people, but yeah, but yeah. So Victoria Justice. Victoria Justice seems okay. She's all
Okay. I don't even. I'm not sure I know who that is.
right. Yeah, I guess yeah. I didn't watch her show, but she was. I think she ended up, I guess, okay there. I think by the time I stopped watching Disney, I think that's when her show was starting to really
Okay.
come up there. By the time
I never, even as a kid, I never really watched like the Disney Channel at all. So I'm
Okay.
very unfamiliar with that. With that, I was like WB 23, whatever cartoons were on there, and occasionally Cartoon Network at someone else's house. That's
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah. I remember, yeah, the Disney show because I know people. Sometimes people are like, okay, you were a Nickelodeon kid or you were a Disney kid. Like some kids watched a lot of Nickelodeon, which now they feel bad about because of Dan Schneider. They feel a lot bad about that. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, so there's that. Or so I watched like That's So Raven. That was big. I watched a lot of that. I watched a lot of what was another big Disney show there? Like I had like the cartoons because I think Kim Possible. Yeah, that was Disney. Kim Possible. Um,
Okay.
that was that, so I did watch that, so, but I did prefer more of the cartoons there,
Yeah.
yeah, so there's that. So, yeah, so he did that, chill spots, and so I guess he's, also just, yeah, looking at some stuff on YouTube there. He's a good content creator there. Mini Portable's on right now. Mini Portable's a wrestling content creator streamer. Your guy's on Geekdom, he's on right now.
Oh, there you
It's
go.
Player Obscure Expeditions. How much more does he have left? This is it? Or
I bet he's got a lot more. I mean, that's the thing is even I don't think he's even beaten the game. And even when you beat the game, you could still have another 30 hours to go, depending on how much of the side stuff you did along the way. I mean, there's a lot. Like the
Oh, okay.
credits roll, and then there is a ton of games still.
So I guess he beat it. So he says here, Act 3 side content. So maybe he beat it, or maybe he's just playing the side content before
I
he
think
gets
he's
to the
trying to
fun.
get, yeah, I think he's trying to clean up a bunch of it before he goes to the end.
Oh, gotcha. So maybe yeah, he's doing that before he gets to the end there. So yeah, so he's doing that right there. So maybe if he usually streams pretty long, so he'll probably be on by the time we're done. Doing that, and then yeah. So Sage, let people know about you. What you got going on? What you got coming up next? All that good stuff.
Yeah, you can find me over at Rated M for Amateurity on Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, all under that exact same name. Right now, we're playing Clair Obscure Expedition 33. Tomorrow, Tuesdays, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time is our normal time that we get started, roughly 3 hours. We should be wrapping up tomorrow. Should be our last one. And then after that, we're going to jump into Indiana Jones. Should be a lot of fun.
All right, yeah, can't wait to watch you guys play that. Good old Indiana Jones there, good old Indy. Which good time to review it because Father's Day's coming up, and Last Crusade they're re-releasing that in theaters for Father's
Yeah.
Day there. So they're doing that. Can you think of any other great Father's Day movies for Father's Day?
Oh, I'm sure there's a ton out there, but I mean, Indiana Jones, I feel like is probably one of the best.
You can
Um,
watch Old Boy. That's about a father. That's a father film.
uh, yeah, I suppose that would. I don't know if it's a wholesome one, but I guess nothing says they have to be wholesome films.
Uh, that one. Yeah, that's an option there. You can watch that. And this is your YouTube right here, youtube.com. You type in Rated M for Immaturity, you'll pop up here. Playing this great game, taking out the trash here, Rise of Kong. Playing this. Yeah. Very, very awesome game here.
Uh, so
Uh,
so bad.
yeah. So, yeah, you got that going on. So,
Big Fish. Would you count? Would that be a good Father's Day film?
that's a good one. Yeah, the Tim Burton one. That's one of, I think that's my favorite Tim Burton film. It's Big Fish.
It's definitely one of his better films. I mean,
Yeah.
even that was a long time ago.
Yeah. Because that movie came out, what, 2002 or something, 2005?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. Something like that.
If nobody's ever seen
Oh,
it,
Finding Nemo.
I actually have never seen Finding Nemo, I don't think.
Well, I enjoyed that one. It's like old Pixar before they started making too many sequels.
Yeah. Any Nicolas Cage movie that's good for Father's Day?
Ooh, I mean, there's like a two or three violent revenge thrillers where his kid gets killed and he has to like fight the mafia or something. I'm trying to think if there's like any that feel wholesome.
Uh,
Um,
what about Cruise? You can watch the Cruise.
oh, that's true. That's a family. It's just a family movie right there. I don't know if a great Father's Day present is making your dad watch The Croods though. So, you know.
You and your dad gonna go to watch Indiana Jones Last Crusade?
No, no, no. I mean, both of us, I think, just our work schedules wouldn't line up. But I would like to. But I could. I feel like I could also just be like, hey, what's a day we both have off? Just come over to the house and we'll watch it.
Yeah, watch it on Disney Plus. Watch it on Disney Plus there. Yeah,
There you
and
go.
then, or you got it on DVD, Blu-ray,
I've got a VHS somewhere.
VHS. Okay, pop in the VHS there. You and Dad watching some Indiana Jones. Yeah, good father bonding time there, I would say. But yeah, some good movie recommendations there. You got Big Fish, you got Indiana Jones, Last Crusade, got the Croods. Got a good diverse palette there of great Father Day movies there. Yeah, so you got that. You got that movie that just came out recently about the wrestlers. What's that movie called? Just came out with Zac Efron. I liked it quite a bit.
Oh, I actually never saw that. Was it
Iron
Iron
Claw.
Claw? Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I haven't seen that one yet.
yeah. So you got that. So good ones. So yeah. All right. So very good stuff there. So good time to do that. But yeah, Radiant Immaturity on everything. Twitch, YouTube, Immaturity, RM for Immaturity there on Twitter. If you want to check you out there to hear your tweets, your tweet. There. I think people still call it tweets. Nobody calls it, I don't know what they'll post or whatever. Just post. No, everybody still calls
I mean, I don't know it. What other name makes sense even, or
it.
would be like? It's got to be catchy. It's got to make sense. It's got to somehow tie into the brand. I just don't think there's a way to do that with how stupid the brand has become.
Yeah. Yeah. So everybody pretty much still calls it. It's just Twitter. Yeah. Even when publications write articles about Twitter, they go like X, but formerly known as Twitter. Like people probably
Yeah.
wouldn't know what you're talking about.
Maybe eventually it'll be like HBO Max. They'll just change it back again.
Yeah, eventually. Yeah, and that there's that news that I haven't followed. I saw the headline there. They're splitting into two companies. Warner Brothers is.
I did see something about that. Yeah, I wonder if it's is it still going to be like a parent company that owns both of them, or will it be like fully split into two? That's my question.
Mm, yeah, so we'll see there. So yeah, it's Warner Brothers Discovery. Um, Here. So this was like the headline right here. Streaming and studios splitting into two companies. Streaming and studios: WB Television, WB Pictures, WB Games, DC Studios, HBO, HBO Max Plus. Their film and TV library. So there's a HBO and then the HBO Max Plus. So is that different from HBO Max, the Max Plus, or is it different? Or
That's the first time I've even heard that term.
okay. Their film and TV libraries. Uh,
That starts to sound like all of the like fake subscription joke services that when they did the South Park pandemic special episodes and they went to the future and there was like get your subscription to Walmart Applebee's Plus or whatever. Like it's we're starting to get to the point of that just not even being a joke anymore.
or maybe they're saying it as like HBO Max, and then like they're saying it as part of it plus their film and
Oh, in
TV.
addition to. Okay, that's
Yeah, so
possible. That's
yeah, I think
possible.
okay, maybe they're saying it like that. Not that. And then global networks here: CNN, TNT Sports, Discovery, Discovery Plus, and other TV networks. So that's what they're doing. Okay. All right. So there you go. Yeah. So yeah, that's some news there. But there, future streams. This upcoming Friday. Hopefully, Nick and Dust will be able to join me. We got reviews for How to Train Your Dragon, the live action remake of the DreamWorks film. There. Have you ever seen the animated How to Train Your Dragon? That's pretty decent. A little bit of a father son movie.
Yeah, no, I saw it back when it originally released. Although I'll be honest, I don't think I liked it as much as most people, and mainly because I'll be honest, Jay Baruchel's voice is kind of like a chalk
Mm.
nails on a chalkboard to me a little bit.
I can see that. Yeah, he's kind of got that voice. Yeah, but hey, DreamWorks, they decided, hey, since Disney's doing it, we'll do it too, and we'll do these live action remakes.
Well, I feel like they might be getting in on the trend a little bit late because I feel like audiences are getting a little sick of those at this point. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they'll have a resurgence.
Well, Lilo and Stitch made a lot of money. Lilo and Stitch is
That's
making
true.
a lot of money. It's wow, it's over $772.5 million that Lilo and Stitch has made.
Wow. Okay. I didn't realize it was doing
Yeah,
that well. Well, I mean, yeah, that's the thing. It's like the Snow White movie didn't do super well, and then Disney was like, "Okay, we're canceling we're going to release the ones we're already making, but then we're canceling all of our, future plans for live action remakes. But then this movie immediately after does super well. So they're going to go, we're canceling our cancellation of our plan. They're just going to go right back to it. I mean, they're not going to stick to what they actually said about it.
Yeah. I think that the only consistent thing with the live action remakes is that, I've talked to with Nick many times and when we review a lot of these, it's just that the millennial ones do really well. Like if you look at all the millennial
Sure.
Disney animated, they do the best, and then all the ones that are more of the like way in the past, like original like Snow White, because that came out in like the
30s.
50s, 30s. That came out all the way in the 30s. So it's like it really isn't that strong. I feel like of a connection to Snow White, maybe
Yeah.
like
You can't bank on people who you're either dead or at best have dementia. You can't bank on their nostalgia.
yeah, and people still, like, Snow White. Obviously, that's a classic character, classic Disney
Yeah,
princess.
I mean, as an animation nerd, I like that movie a lot, if nothing else, for the animation and just the technique involved in making it. I mean, it's not like my favorite story, but there's still some really impressive fundamentals about it.
Yeah, and apparently, if you're a 40-year-old man, you really care about it a lot. You really are deep into the lore of Snow White, apparently, I guess. You really you really know the Snow White lore in and out, so there are people out
Is
there.
there more to know?
Yeah, so that's a lot, I guess. But yeah, so typically those ones do pretty well. The millennial ones, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, Lilo and Stitch.
Sure.
The outliers, Mulan, but Mulan released during COVID, and that got
And
dumped
they
on the
filmed it next to some concentration camps. It might have had an
yeah,
effect on the box office.
might have had effect on the box office there. I think there was that stuff going around with the lead actress that she was like the worst actress in China or something like that. Like a lot of Chinese
Oh, I
people
didn't know that.
yeah, like a lot of Chinese people was like this person sucks. She's not a good actress. Like okay, I was like oh okay.
Well, and like Chinese audiences, as far as I'm aware, don't aren't super fond of the Disney animated Mulan to begin with. I've heard at least a few people say that like the dragon being like kind of a comic relief character that really rubbed Chinese audiences the wrong way. But
Oh, oh, I thought the Chinese audience they don't like the funny black man. They don't like Eddie Murphy as the dragon.
I mean,
Uh,
I think it's he's actually puts a pretty great performance in as an animated character. But I think it's just the fact that it's a dragon and there's such cultural symbols of like strength and wisdom, and so for it to be like the comedy character, I think that was just like an instant no go. No matter what, like just the concept was just dead in the water for them.
mm. Well, a few days ago, several days ago, it was Mulan premiered 27 years ago, so it was the anniversary of
Wow,
Mulan. There because Ming Na Wen she made a post about that. Still looks the same, Ming Na Wen, pretty much. I mean, she's
she
still
really does,
yeah,
aging very very gracefully.
yeah, she's in her 60s now. Yeah, and she looks fantastic. Yeah, so she yeah. And I love Mulan. Mulan is my favorite Disney princess. I do love
Well, because she's like a legit badass.
Mulan.
A
Yeah. Yeah, she
lot of
actually
Disney
yeah,
princesses just kind of get saved, and not that you can't have any stories like that, but it's the formula and it gets old. So Mulan broke that and really did something different.
yeah. So that's true. Yeah, she actually was very active in her story, and you know what I mean. Really had a mission and accomplished it. Yeah, and then yeah, that's what makes one of like the live action remake one of the worst ones that they've done because it's like she just had the force, and it's like she had like a special power or something. It's like wait, what?
We'll
Uh,
just wait till they make a live action remake of the sequel.
oh, yeah, I don't think that's happening. That one bombed pretty bad. I don't think that's
No,
happening.
I totally. But do you know about the original Mulan too? Because it's for everything that we just said we liked about the first animated movie. Ooh, that second one's kind of offensive.
Yeah, I never seen. I usually have never seen the Disney sequels.
Most of them aren't very good.
The only one
Well,
I've
actually, I
seen,
struggle to think of any that are.
the only one I've seen that I kind of like was the Lion King one. The Lion King one is decent, I think.
Okay, I don't think I've ever watched it.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty decent. That's the one. It was about um, so Scar had a kid, and then his
Hmm.
kid tried to hook up with Mufasa's daughter, and then Mufasa was mad that he's like, oh, he's prejudiced against him because he was Scar's kid and everything like that. So it was decent. It was alright. Oh, okay.
They probably split that up into like a live action trilogy. Yeah?
Yeah, probably they'll do that. Live action one. I mean the the prequel they did about Mufasa, that did really well. I think that did also really well, so they'll probably do that.
Why?
But yeah. Oh, I forgot George Takei was in Mulan. I forgot that. Yeah. Okay. I forgot
Oh yeah, yeah, yep.
that. Oh, okay.
I should watch that again. It's been a long time.
Yeah. And then here's the dude. He's plotting to make evil fucking dinosaurs over here. BD Wong over here. Yeah.
BD Wong is fun. Even when he shows up in something bad, he's usually the most entertaining part of it.
Yeah. But yeah. So that's what we got. So he was great in Mr. Robot. He was really great.
Yeah, he was. He was fantastic in that. He was also the funniest part of the show Gotham, which was not very good.
Who was he? I forgot who was he in Gotham?
He played Hugo Strange, but he
Oh,
played it like he was in the Adam West show. So I enjoyed every second he was on screen.
okay. Did they give him the whole Hugo Strange look, like the
Oh
bald
yeah,
head?
yeah. Bald head and the like chin strap beard all the way across.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Round
okay.
glasses.
Oh, yeah, I see him. Okay. Okay. Yeah. All right, I see that.
He knew what show he was in. He was like, I'm gonna pretend this is exactly the Adam West set, and I'm gonna ham it up to that degree.
Yeah. And people did want an Asian actor playing Hugo Strange. A lot of people like they wanted Batista playing Hugo Strange.
Hmm. You know what? I could actually see that. I could see that working too.
Yeah, so a lot of people wanted him. So maybe he'll get his chance. Yeah, one day.
I know he doesn't think he could play Bane anymore. I know he's dropped a lot of the muscle for health reasons. So good for him. But yeah, that would be a cool because that's a character you could totally have be much slimmer and doesn't need to be as physically imposing.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, he said yeah for health reasons. That's why he's not gonna play Drax anymore. Or he's gonna stop playing that.
Good for him, honestly. I mean, the whole superhero physique is, I mean, that's got to be awful on the body long term. I mean, I can't believe Hugh Jackman is still doing it. But until he's 90, right?
Yeah, I mean, hey, I mean that workout routine is crazy. I mean, eating like a whole turkey, like right when you wake up, like I eat all of it, and then working out afterwards.
I think I'd rather die.
Yeah, that's a little much. But yeah. So got that. So yeah, future streams. That's what we got going on. And then yeah, How to Train Your Dragon Materialist, which is the new Celine Song movie. I'm excited to see that. She did Past Lives a couple years ago, which I really love a lot. That was one of my favorite movies of the year. This one starring Pedro Pascal. Of course it does. Pedro Pascal. He's in everything. Pedro Pascal is in your
No
home
doubt
right
about
now. Yeah. So he's everywhere. Him, and then we got Captain America. Chris Evans is in it. We got Madam Web is in it. What's her name?
it. Dakota Johnson?
Yes, Dakota Johnson.
Okay.
Yeah, Dakota Johnson. Madam Web. So you got Madam Web. You got Mr. Fantastic there, Reed Richards, and you got Captain America there.
Did you see what she said about Madam Web the other day?
She said what it wasn't her fault that it was bad, Madam Web.
Well, not just that, but she said that the people that actually made the movie didn't have a single creative bone in their body,
Mm. Well,
which
it's
I could see probably being true.
hard to argue with that, really. Yeah, it's hard to argue with that. I mean, it's. Uh, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's still hard work that goes into making a movie, even if it's a piece of crap. All the cast and
Sure.
crew and everything, and
She probably means at like an executive decision making level. Probably not like everyone on the
Oh,
set or
okay.
anything. She probably just means like the executives that keep calling and going like, "All right, do this now."
Yeah, probably. Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, it's about charitable. Yeah, of that. I don't know who's on the crew because me seeing the materials and How You Train Your Dragon, I don't have time to go see Life of Chuck, which is the new Mike Flanagan movie.
Hmm.
So it's an adaptation of a Stephen King work because, of course, Mike Flanagan he found another Stephen King work he hasn't adapted yet, so he's like, oh shit, I'll do this. So
I mean, hey, he's never going to run out because Stephen King releases like 30 books a year.
yeah, there's another Stephen King movie coming out. Did you see the trailer for that?
I don't think I did. Like just recently it came out.
Yeah, it's got the son. Whose son is that again? Dang. It's called The Long Walk. It's got Mark Hamill in it. Funny enough, Mark Hamill's also in the other Stephen King adaptation as well. He's in the Life of Chuck as well. Funny
Okay.
enough, it's called The Long Walk. and it's like Mark Hamill, and it's got the guy from Alien, Romulus in it, David Johnson, and yeah, him. Whose son is he again? He's Philip Seymour Hoffman's son. Yeah, 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 yeah. This guy.
Oh, oh, yeah, no, I definitely haven't heard about this.
Yeah, I've never heard about this Stephen King book before, but like you say, he releases like 50 books a year or some shit like that. So it's hard. I mean, yeah. But the concept is like I guess they take troubled youth and they go like you just gotta walk. You gotta keep walking or else you die. And then whoever's left standing, you win. There.
Huh,
So yeah. And then Mark Hamill's the person that has a whole army and that's what happens if you stop walking. So
interesting.
there. So
Okay,
yeah. Can't stop. There's no rest. There's no break. Nothing. Keep walking. That's it. So yeah, got that. I wonder. Let me Google how many books has Stephen King published. I wonder.
ooh, I mean, it's gonna be a big number. I couldn't tell you, but it's definitely gonna be big.
Uh. Okay. So says okay. King has published 65 novels slash novellas, and he's written over 200 short stories.
Yeah,
Uh.
yeah, that's what really bumps the number up is the short stories.
Yeah, so that's what he's got. So wow, that's always a Stephen King adaptation. I think we talked about it before. I mean, he's probably the most adapted author ever. Probably. I mean,
I would think so.
yeah,
I mean, there's just so much. I mean, just his like classic catalog of what people think of as the big ones that are like beloved is big on its own. And then if you bring everything else in, I mean, it just becomes massive.
yeah. So a lot of stuff. Didn't somebody do like an anthology series about like his short stuff? Like, I want to say somebody did like an anthology
Are you
series.
thinking of Creepshow? Because he was in it, but he didn't write it. He was an actor
N-
in it. But
No, it was one they did. Oh, they canceled it.
oh, okay.
It was like anthology
Sad.
season, and they did one about like misery. They did one with that with Lizzie Kaplan was.
Oh, Castle Rock.
Yes, yeah,
I
they
actually
canceled.
really enjoyed that show. So it basically it was an original story, the show, but took place within his universe. So like the
Oh,
misery part of it that got brought in, it was what's her name? Came in and played a young version of
yeah,
the
Lizzie Kaplan.
character. Yeah, Lizzie Kaplan. She played a young version of the character from Misery, but it was like a whole show with like one story, and she was one of the ensemble cast to it.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So it was okay. So it was all connected. Okay.
Yeah, it was like an original narrative that someone else was telling, but they were using the backdrop of Stephen King's universe to tell the story.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I like that. I like Castle. I thought Castle Rock was pretty good. It's decent.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
The first season I thought was kind of boring. I was like, okay, it's
I think the
current.
best episode is in the first season, the one where is it the mother that's experiencing like dementia symptoms, and the whole episode is like framed from the confusion and like the way it's
Mm.
jumping back and forth through time and kind of told non-linear. I thought that was really great. I think that was my favorite episode of that show.
Mm. I got to go back and maybe check that out. That episode. But yeah, so awesome stuff there. So that's what we got coming up there, stream wise. That going on Saturday. I don't have anything planned. Actually, maybe if Nick doesn't do his show Wednesday with Brandon, How to Train Your Dragon, do a retro review of that of the animated film. Maybe do that Saturday, and then Sunday I'll probably do Tangerine. I'll do that film there, and also in addition to Pride Month. That's what another movie that won the poll there. We got a lot of polls up right now because there's a lot of movies coming out, franchise films. We got a poll up for Superman, which Superman movie we should review. Right now, 1978, Christopher Reeve Superman is winning, of course. People like that classic Superman, John Williams.
Oh
That's the
yeah,
score. People, that's the score that will go on to be used still to this day. John Williams with
yeah.
Christopher Reeve Superman there.
It's hard to beat.
Hard to beat there. So yeah, that
The only thing that comes close is the animated series theme. That's
uh,
actually in competition for me, at least.
I do love that anime series thing. That is really great. That is really awesome as well. So there's that. I had Superman 1978, Man of Steel, which I know Sage would have loved to watch Man of Steel, but unfortunately it's losing the poll. There was the animated film All Star Superman. There was that one I had up there. And I did put up a Superman anime series episode. I did put up Apocalypse Now, part
Mm.
1 and 2. I don't know if you remember that.
Oh, I
Uh,
definitely do.
so there was
I've
that.
watched all five of the shows in that universe. Within the last, I've rewatched all of it within the last like 6 years.
Mm, nice, yeah. So I mean, we can still. I mean, it's not too much to watch a Superman episode there. If you want to
Yeah,
add that
40
on,
minutes for a two-parter. Nah, that's nothing.
if you want to tack that on to Superman 1978, we can do that. Then also Fantastic Four. Which Fantastic Four movie should we review there? So I got Fantastic Four 2005, Fantastic Four 2, which is The Rise of the Silver Surfer, which came out in '07. We got, oh, hey, happy 20-year anniversary to Fantastic Four 2005.
Oh wow, yeah.
Happy 20th anniversary of that film. We got Fantastic Four 2015, Fan Four Stick. We got that one.
Fantastic.
Um, and we got the
Classic.
Roger Corman Fantastic Four 1994. Which one do you think is winning?
I would think the first of the Tim Story movies.
No, it's Fan Four Stick is winning.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, I guess
20.
people want to hear it get ripped apart, huh?
Yeah.
I've actually never sat down and watched that whole movie. I feel
I
like I've
finally,
absorbed a lot of it from people talking about it, but I've never sat down to watch the whole thing.
I finally did because I kept starting it, and then 20 minutes in, I was like, okay, I'm not finishing this. And then 20, it's like okay, but then I finally did. I was like, okay, I made it past and I finished it, and yeah. But if we review it, I'll let you know. So I have seen Fan Four Stick. I finally, after all these years, I did watch
I voted for the Roger Corman one.
it. That wouldn't be bad to review the Roger Corman one there. Uh,
It's honestly, I mean, it's not maybe great as it is at times. I think it may be still better than the other ones that have come out. That's just me, but
28 years later, that movie's coming out. I got
mm,
28 days later, 28 weeks later. People are voting for 28 days. People want to say that 28 days later. Um,
that's not too surprising either.
yeah. I don't remember much about either film. I haven't seen those movies in a long time. So it'd be cool to go back and watch them. Very nice there.
The
So
first one is one of my favorite movies, honestly.
yeah, awesome film, man. Danny Boyle, very, very great film there. So it'd be awesome to watch 20 Days Later there. Uh,
I honestly like the second one probably more than I feel like a lot of people do. Maybe not as much as the first, but I actually don't think it's bad.
mm, yeah, so you like, so about equal to you 28 weeks later, 28 days later, or you like,
Oh no, I like the first one. Like I'd still say a significantly more, but I feel like I hear a lot of people say the second one is out and out bad, and I don't think it's bad. I think it's a little bit more of a conventional film, so the style is very different. But I still think it's like a decent, you know, decent just zombie movie.
yeah. Well, hey, man, you got RFK Jr. Maybe he's gonna bring it back. He's gonna bring a 28 days later, man. He's gonna have it happen. So
It's gonna let the monkey out of the cage.
yeah, he's gonna do that. So never know. Hey, Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. That's out right now. Let's say that's this month. I got Fight Club. I got American Psycho. I got The Machinist. I got Silver Linings Playbook. As far as movies we should review there for Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, which movie do you think is winning?
I'm gonna guess American Psycho.
Uh, Close. It's Fight Club. American Psycho is
Okay,
second. So a lot of
it was
people want
gonna
to
be
see
one of those two.
Fight Club there. The Machinist is a smaller film, so I didn't expect people to really vote for that one. But I do love
It's
that movie.
also hard to watch, I'd say, for most people. Some of the physicality that Christian Bale does in The
Oh yeah,
Machinist is like it's it can be hard to look at times.
yeah. That's when he went through that physical transformation and yeah, starved
Yeah.
himself there. Yeah. So this is what he looked like when he was in The Machinist. Old Christian Bale there.
Yeah.
And then because
And
this
that was
movie,
in between two Batman movies. Like
yeah,
right in the middle.
yeah. So he had to lose all this weight, then yeah, pack on muscle to yeah play Batman again, and yeah. So
And he was
it,
bigger the second time, if I remember right.
yeah, somewhat. Yeah, he's kind of bigger. Yeah, the second time. That's
And
dedication.
then and then he had to drop it again for the fighter and then pack it on again to do the third one.
Mhm. Yeah. So very awesome there. So yeah, dedication, man. Christian Bale. I remember I saw some funny tweet there. They said Jared Leto will go through a physical transformation and gain 200 pounds to be in a role that's absolute shit, everything like that. So yeah, but Jared Leto, he's in some trouble right now. Yeah, I don't
More
know.
trouble? New trouble? Different? Because
Uh,
I don't know if people are aware, like at least I found out several years ago that he like has an island that he goes to where everybody has to call him savior and they all wear white robes and like bow to him. That's like a thing that happened and came out a while ago. So are people just catching on to that or is this different?
this is something new. So this was like very recently. So Jared Leto accused of sexual misconduct by multiple women, including some who say they were underage. Actor denies the claims there.
I
So
mean, I
this is like
believe it.
I mean, people bring it up. I mean, I think with Jared Leto, it's like one of those open secret type things. I think a lot of people kind of know what he does, but just doesn't really say anything or whatever. I think.
I mean, is boldly public information that he has like a weird cult on an island. I feel like this is just the logical extension of that.
Yeah, and people always talk about that James Gunn tweet that kind of exposed him a little bit. That he kind of that's why I say it kind of feels like an open secret there a little bit because
Hmm.
this was from like 2018. This was from this tweet, and then this you have the first person who goes, "Yo, Jared Leto, now that you slid into the DMs of every female model aged 18 to 25, what would you say your success rate is?" And then James Gunn, you have him reply, so he starts at 18 on the internet. So he said, reply that.
Yep,
Um,
that's definitely a call out.
yeah, so I guess he won't be playing Joker. He won't be back as the Joker in James Gunn's universe there. Uh,
I mean, just the performance he gave alone should have prevented that from happening.
yeah. So you didn't like Cholo Joker there?
No, I hated that. I hated that so much.
And it was like a
Feel
because like
no chills for him.
when he did his Joker, it was like 10 years in between when Heath Ledger because that was like they had been no other Joker since Heath Ledger since that. So it's like, oh hey,
Yeah.
so this was 10 years. Oh man, exciting
Well, don't
stuff.
forget when he came back in the Snyderverse and he was literally trying to jerk Batman off.
Oh, yeah, offered him. Yeah, he said give him a hand job, man. Yeah,
Yeah. No, he was like serious. He was like, yeah, that Batman, come on, let's go. I want to do this right now.
yeah. Hey, that writing, man, can't beat that Snyder writing, man. Yeah. So, yeah, so that's what we got. The future reviews got a lot of stuff there, and of course, finally we are going to do Andor. I know I just got to finish it. I got to finish Andor season 2. Do that next Monday. Hopefully, Sage can be with me next Monday. Andor
For
season
sure.
2. Maybe a video game review if he can finish a video game there, and
Yeah,
then
I got one I'm working on. I think I'll be able to be done with it by then.
yeah, and then maybe an anime if one is finished. So do an anime review there. I know you said the English dub is done with Dragon Ball Diama there, so
Yes.
so that is done. So I'll probably maybe try to watch that on Crunchyroll and try to get through that as well. But yeah, so still a lot of stuff there. Watch and before the revival of King of the Hill, maybe check out the Mike Judge produced show, Common Side Effects. Do that.
Yeah, I'm actually starting to watch it a second time with one of my friends already.
Yeah, so they're liking it too.
Yeah. It was literally just the first episode, but it got a great like right off the bat immediate reception. So
Yeah. So does he produce it or does he just voice it?
yeah,
Or he
he's a producer on it. It's him
okay.
and Greg Daniels. Both of them from King of the Hill and Beavis and Butthead are producers on it. And then he also voices a character in it as well.
Cool. Yeah. Does he do any type of voice that reminds you of something from King of the Hill or something from
Oh,
Beavis?
it sounds like Hank. It
Oh, okay.
totally sounds like it. I mean, if you listen to just one line of that from that character, you can tell immediately.
What's his character's name? I'm trying to look for it. Let me see.
He plays this like
Oh, Rick
like
Kruger.
executive sort of, yeah, Rick Kruger. Yeah, he's this like super. I mean, you look at him and you could probably tell who it's making fun of a little bit right away. But
So let's see if this will. Let me see if this will.
CEO of Reuticol, who's known for selling antibiotics and antibiotics. Those two in common. Everything after that was
Some other person.
just it's just somebody talking about it.
Okay, let me see. Let me try to see if I.
It's an interesting show though, and part of I think what gives it there's a couple things in it that I think make it really unique. One is that it is like a crime drama, like as much as it is a comedy, and it's very funny. A lot of it is like something that you could see being like a live action, just normal HBO crime drama, and then it's got this great layer of like kind of Mike Judge comedy on top of that, and it gives it this very unique tone that it's able to achieve.
Let's check it out right here.
Bit of a hot seat here, we both know that. But if this comes through, it could change the pharmaceutical game as we know it. Revenue possibilities, I mean, infinite.
Infinite. Infinite revenue? You amuse me, Rick. You're a classic type. The American bullshitter.
Okay, I'm going to show you something that one of my top research people is working on, okay?
Okay, so I see. I definitely hear it. Yeah, it does sound like that. Okay.
It's like the pitch is a little different for sure, but I there's a lot of it in there.
Yeah. Okay. It kind of sounds like when he does like when Hank Hill's kind of drunk in King of the Hill. It kind of sounds like that one. Kind of there.
Totally.
Okay. So yeah. All right. Let's get into you want to do maybe the Summer Game Fest stuff? Probably knock that out. There's a lot of that stuff going on.
Yeah, we could do that first. Do whatever order works.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and do that. A lot of trailers here. All right. So let's do the first trailer. Start with something big. We do the Marvel Cosmic Invasion here. So this is something here. So it's more expansive here, I guess, more kind of get detailed, and then we have some more character reveals as well with this. Short, only a minute long here, so we get introduced to some new characters. All right, let's take a look. All right, here we go. These Guardians characters hot right now, man. Everybody want to put these Guardians characters in there.
I don't think that's ever going to change now, to be honest. I think as long as there are Marvel branded things happening that have a lot of characters in them, I think that's just going to keep being the case.
Yeah. Are you surprised about She-Hulk? Them introducing
I
She-Hulk?
was a little bit, but at the same time, I guess she has become maybe a more well known to the mainstream audience now. But I'm very excited. I've always really liked that character. So Rocket's face in the smoke from the bomb is great, good.
Was it right?
Yeah, like right about there. It's like a quick. It's almost blink and you miss it, but
Oh, pretty. Oh, that's
hey, Sauron.
oh yeah, Thanos in there. You know what I'd like to see? Her do Cannonball with Wolverine. I would have liked to see that.
Oh, I bet it's in there.
Yeah.
I bet it is.
Okay, so this is more expansive, just showing more characters added to it.
Yeah, just give it's a small thing, but I think it just this studio's done a great job with these. They worked on the Scott Pilgrim game from way back in the day, which is I think just had an anniversary itself recently. They did the Shredder's Revenge game a couple of years ago. They're like right now they're kind of bringing this. Not that there's no one else making these types of games, but I feel like they're doing it on a really special level.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned Scott Pilgrim. They do have a sequel to the Scott Pilgrim game.
Same studio.
That is us. Let's check out that right now. That premiered at the Summer Game Fest. So yeah. Did you like the TV show?
Yeah, we reviewed it. I gave it a This is Cinema.
Oh yeah, we did. Yeah, we did review it. Yeah, you were on there.
I loved it. I think it's better than the original like comic run, honestly.
Wow. Okay. Is that controversial to say?
I don't think so. I mean, I feel like it was pretty well received generally. But I mean, and I mean, this isn't always going to be the case for every creator. Look at Ridley Scott returning to do Prometheus. But in this case, Brian Lee O'Malley, he came back and that show was him writing a sequel, like to a story that he wrote in his 20s. He then came and wrote a sequel in his 40s. And I thought it was a very intelligent self-reflection on his own art.
Yeah. Yeah, we did review it. I know we talked about the controversy of that, about the whole like people were saying that, oh well, they got tricked into watching the show, and it's like, well, I just thought it was gonna be a straight up adaptation of the comic, and not, yeah. So that people
I
felt.
mean, I remember us talking about that a little bit, but I think my stance at the time, and I haven't changed my mind, is that like something could be a bait and switch and be bad, and something can be a bait and switch and be good.
Yeah.
It's just that there is a twist, and sometimes it's good, and sometimes it's bad. It just depends on the execution. I thought it was great there. I get that maybe some people just really want to see a straight up adaptation, but I think the movie did a great job of being that already. I mean, sure, did I get every little detail from the comic? No. Maybe someday they'll go back and they'll do that, but I thought getting something that was a new story to me that felt way more significant and interesting.
Mm, I do agree. So let's check this out. I still want to see a season two. I know they said they weren't doing a season two, but I still want to see a season two.
Well, maybe this game is the season two.
Oh, well, maybe. Let's check it out.
And you see it's the designs from the show.
And you guys played the first game on stream before. If you want to check that out,
We did.
you all can check that out on youtube.com. Radiant Infantry. They did play that there.
We got stuck in one elevator for like an hour. And that's like a power remote I only used in the Netflix show.
Oh, the where she goes Super Saiyan, right?
Like Super Saiyan. Yeah, that was she did that in the new series.
Hmm.
Like all the designs here are like very much kind of updated designs from that anime.
And it's mentioning space and time, and that's what the series did deal with, multiverse, things like that. Okay. How you feeling about this?
I think it looks fantastic. I mean, this is the same studio that is just like I was just saying, just doing a great job with the Shredder's Revenge game. Marvel Cosmic Invasion is them. That I think looks great. I'm almost surprised they announced another game before that released, but I think they're on a roll here. They were also responsible for the original Scott Pilgrim game from back in, gosh, was it 2011, 2012 that came out? Something like that. Yeah, I think it looks great. Looks like a great sequel. I'm very happy they're carrying all the designs from the anime forward because I like that anime so much. It looks like a best case scenario Scott Pilgrim game to me.
Mm, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm excited for it. Looks like, I mean, I did like that first game a lot. That first Pilgrim game, I thought that was really well done. Like you said, it'd be cool if this was a continuation a little bit of the series there. If it's like, okay, we couldn't do a season two with Netflix, maybe this is a way of our doing a season two there in that kind of video game form, which would be awesome if they did that. Seeing they said it'll be 7 playable characters, so we already saw Scott, Ramona. I wonder if maybe definitely the roommate will be involved. You have that. Maybe you'll
Yeah, I
have.
mean, in the first one, you've got Wallace, the roommate, Knives, Steven, Kim. Uh, I want to say young Neil might have even been playable. You had quite a few in there. I wonder. This is just my thought, but if you're doing a sequel and you want to kind of change up the roster a little bit, in the new show in the anime, they had the villains from the original story all got like way more screen time in that show. And I wonder it could be kind of fun if maybe a bunch of the villains were the other playable characters because they kind of weren't villains anymore in that series.
Yeah, yeah. I was thinking the same thing. I was like, yeah, it'd be cool to see like if you could play, yeah, some of the X's. That would be kind of good there if they brought in because, like you said, there was a different spin on them. It was like an alternate story type thing there. They were just misunderstood. They just needed
Yeah.
a good talking to there. So they were kind of, but Gideon still ended up being pretty evil though.
Yeah, yeah.
He's
Well,
still
he's
evil.
a total douche.
Yeah. So he's still. All right. So yeah, that was Scott Pilgrim X there. 2026 was the date there for it. So yeah, that. This is all pretty short. This is a pretty short trailer right here as well. This was just like an announcement type trailer there, but we saw a little bit of something. This was all, but this was kind of cool to see. Big surprise there, and let's play it. Uh,
They're out there. All
Gotta rescue them. This is what we gotta protect.
We cannot choose when
People's dreams get snatched up by
find Inspector Deck, find Rizzo, find Master Kill, find Jill, find Method, find Ray, find you, find Cabot, find Ghostface Killer.
Where is the Wu-Tang Clan?
Like X-Men Days of Future
Find
Past.
them.
But
yeah, it's on the wall. Mystery places. Wu-Tang Rise of the Deceiver. You got that Wu-Tang game there. And there has been a Wu-Tang game before, way back in the day. There has been a Wu-Tang game before. Did you ever get the Wu-Tang?
I didn't even know there was one actually.
Oh, I'll show you that. That one looks is probably one of the most ridiculous looking controllers ever. But yeah, there was a whole Wu-Tang controller. Yeah, but you
Wow.
got this. I like the animation style. I like that.
Yeah, it's almost got that like kind of that Spider-Verse frame dropping effect a little bit.
Yeah. And let me I'll pull up some notes about this game. But yeah, Rise of the Deceiver there. Just an announcement. There's no release date yet for it, so it's not saying 2026, not saying that or anything like that. But in the description here, under this video, it says to save their home of Shaolin, the Wu-Tang Clan must pass on their fantastical powers to a new generation of warriors who've been
Hmm.
called to battle back the forces of an evading, corrupting force, the Deceiver. You and your friends will fight alongside the Wu-Tang Clan, calling on their powerful skills and timeless wisdom to restore Shaolin to a beacon of hope, community, and prosperity. Wu-Tang Rise of the Deceiver was initially conceived as a tie-in to Angel of Dust, an upcoming supernatural thriller produced by Ghostface Killer, but to be directed by RZA under AOD Films there. So you got that there. So people
You think the
mentioned
Deceiver's gonna be Kanye?
is another rapper there. That'd be funny. Yeah,
They kick him out of town.
him wearing all the robes and everything like that. That would be something. But yeah. So let me show you the Wu Tang controller there. But yes, there was a. I'll show you also the video game that Wu Tang had before as well. But yeah, so just kind of an announcement there, a little showing a little footage. Hopefully, it doesn't take too long before this game comes out. But what are your thoughts?
I mean, we don't have much more than just the concept, but I think the concept is cool at least. I mean, the art style of it, the kind of way animation moves is a solid style. I really like that. So it kind of reminds me of the Spider-Verse or, the Ninja Turtles movie did it a bit. Or, we're starting to see that become maybe a slightly more common style in certain places. But I think it looks cool. I mean, I always say music is probably like compared to movies or video games or TV. It's probably like the media that I'm the least knowledgeable about, but I do enjoy the Wu-Tang Clan music, even though I couldn't, you know, probably couldn't tell you too many songs by name. But I've always thought that they were had a great sound at the very least. So I mean, I feel like it's a great idea to have a video game with that as the soundtrack.
Yeah. So this was the game right here, Wu Tang Shaolin style. You had all the various members of the Wu Tang there. Can you name all the members of the Wu Tang?
No, I could not.
Yeah, it's a lot of them. It's a big group, for sure. So there's a lot of them. But
Yeah,
yeah,
was this PlayStation 2?
yes, I believe it was PlayStation 2. This game, the Wu Tang Shaolin style. This game came out, I believe, in 1999. this game.
Okay.
So you did have that. And this was the Wu-Tang controller right here. So this was it. Bad design for a controller, good design for a controller. What do you?
Uh, it doesn't look like it would be super comfortable to hold, but I'll say that it doesn't look as uncomfortable to hold as the Nintendo 64 controller. So that's something.
Uh,
At least it
what do
doesn't
they?
look like it was made for someone with three hands. So,
Yeah. And they had a whole setup, a whole launch with
oh, that
this.
looks like PlayStation 1.
Oh yeah, this was like. Oh yeah, this was PlayStation One. Yeah, PlayStation One right here. You had the disc right there. You had the controller. You had its own system console there. Man, I mean, if whoever had this probably kept on to it, that's probably worth a lot of money now. That's probably a good collector's
Oh, I
item.
bet. Yeah, that's going to be a huge collector's item.
You'd be like Martin Shkreli when he had the Wu Tang out there. But yeah, so man, I would love to play the game. I would actually love to go back. I actually never played the game myself.
Well, like I said, I didn't even know about it, so that would be. Wonder finds the old used game store maybe. We
For
got an old
$500.
copy
Yeah,
back there.
you can get it. But yeah, this came out. Yeah, PlayStation there. And this is the basis of the game's story is setting the real life hip hop group known as the Wu Tang Clan, featuring the characters based on their stage personas and their martial art themes of their music. Some of the members of the group provided voiceover work and made vocal and production contributions to the music there. And the Wu Tang Shaolin style uses a unique game engine called Paradox Development, originally made for the unreleased PlayStation title Thrill Kill. Have you ever heard of that? Thrill Kill?
No, I'm not at all.
The game was noteworthy for allowing up to 4 players to fight simultaneously, a feature present in Shaolin style there. Due to the game's graphic depictions of blood and violence, and special code printed on the instruction manual must be entered within the game to see the full uncensored action. That's pretty nice. So yeah.
Wanna guess how much that controller goes for on eBay?
I'd say 600,
800.
800. Okay, yeah. I don't know. I mean, you can only be compatible with the PlayStation, right? Just the PlayStation, yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't play. I mean, there are you might be able to buy like a third party cable converter online somewhere, but I mean, yeah, just out of the box at least, PlayStation 1 is that's all you're going to be able to plug it into.
Do you have?
I guess the PlayStation 2. I think some of that hardware was compatible with the two.
Yeah. Do you still have a PlayStation One?
No, I never had a PlayStation 1.
Oh, you never had one. Oh, okay. Were you
Yeah.
a Dreamcast?
No, my first console that I had at home myself was the first Xbox, and then I played like PlayStation and GameCube at like friends' houses.
Ah, okay. Gotcha. Yeah.
Or
So
Super Nintendo before that even. I mean, I got my hands on an Atari. It was probably the first, console I ever touched, but it just wasn't mine.
gotcha. Okay. But I'm looking forward to this. It's on my radar. Yeah, good old Wu Tang. Yeah, Rise of the Deceivers. That's on my watch list there. Would you say that this upcoming game probably is the biggest one to come from out of the show? Most people were talking about it. Resident Evil Requiem. Would you say?
Oh, for sure, it's the biggest one.
Yeah. So let's check out this trailer here for Resident Evil Requiem here. Yeah. So this is next entry in the beloved horror franchise there, and it's February 27th is the release date.
Yeah, really soon, which is kind of nuts. But I think that's something Capcom's actually pretty consistently good about is there's usually not a huge amount of time in between.
Let's take a look.
Sir,
Now you know that they faked everybody out 2 times, right?
Oh no, I didn't know that. So what happened?
So during the show, there was the woman Maggie. I forget her last name, but she was the voice of the big tall vampire lady in Village. They play like a commercial, and she comes out, and it's like, oh, are they revealing Resident Evil? And then she starts talking about how there's a sale on Resident Evil games, and then it ends, or I guess Capcom in general. And then they go back, and it's like, oh, okay, well maybe they're going to talk about something later. And then she comes back on again, and she's like, here's a message from the director of the series or whatever, and it goes to this guy, and he's like, hey, we're really hard at work on the next game. We know you've all been wondering about it, but we're not quite ready to show anything. Just a little longer, and you'll see it soon. and then they cut away, and they were clearly trying to get you to not expect to see it, and then this was the last thing they showed.
Mm.
Grace. Grace. Grace Ashcroft.
Yes?
And is it from the?
Yes. So Alyssa Ashcroft was a journalist in Resident Evil Outbreak. There's an Outbreak 1 and 2 back on the PlayStation 2. It takes place in Raccoon City, kind of at the same time as like 2 and 3 do. And it's like a whole bunch of other survivors that you play as. There's like, I want to say 4 or 5 maybe playable characters in those, or at least in each one. And yeah, no, it's like a whole other kind of spin-off subsection of the franchise that I feel like most people that have just kind of played recent games or maybe got into it with 7 or the remakes, just they don't really know about. They were more survival games, like they had like weapons that would break and like all that kind of degradation mechanics and stuff like that. And the mother of this character was a journalist in that game. And then the thing too is that they reference that character in 7. There's actually an article you can pick up referencing the mother, Alyssa Ashcroft, in an article she's written. And then they say in this trailer that your mother died 8 years ago, so that would have been a year after 7 within the timeline or whatever. And there's even kind of what seems like a sly reference to her in the 4 remake that was not in the original 4. And from what I understand, Resident Evil Village was originally meant to be Revelations 3 and kind of more of a spin-off game instead of the next mainline numbered game. And so I think this is something they've been planning since 7, since before 7 came out. Because it seems like they've been kind of dropping little things and building up to what's going to be going on here for a long time.
Gotcha. Okay.
My office.
Oh, coming.
As far as I'm aware, it's also the first time that the FBI has ever been important in Resident Evil.
Yeah.
If this is about the report you asked for yesterday, it'll be ready in 3. No, 2 days, tops.
Put a hold on that for now. We found another body. One that exhibits the same pathology as the others we've been investigating. Now I need a good technical analyst on this.
Okay.
I need your eyes on the crime scene. The Renwood Hotel.
And that is from which game?
That is new as far as I know.
Okay.
This hotel is a new place.
Okay.
I know that's where your mother was murdered. Alyssa died 8 years ago. Perhaps it's time for you to face the past.
That boss move, sensitivity
Grace.
training.
What is this? Hey!
Stay close. They're coming.
I know now that you're the one that I've been searching for. The special one. The chosen one.
Yeah. Now that could, I don't know, but I'm wondering if that could be Oswald Spencer. That's the founder of the Umbrella Corporation. Now we've seen him die on screen technically, but we've also seen Albert Wesker die like 3 or 4 times on screen. So,
Miss Ashcroft.
And where where is this supposed to be?
That's Raccoon City,
Oh, Raccoon City.
30 years later.
Investigating all these strange deaths, huh?
We need to keep our voices down.
Have you seen the same shit I've seen?
And those voices, are those somebody?
I'm not sure about the male voices, but I'm pretty sure I've heard Jill's voice actor somewhere in there. But keep in mind that actress also played like one of the vampire daughters in Village. So some of these actors have played multiple roles in some of the different games. So even though I'm pretty confident I heard Jill's voice, it doesn't mean it's for sure the Jill character.
Have you seen the same shit I've seen?
Please know that you are my hope.
Everyone's gone.
Iconic location.
Oh shit! What was that? What the hell? Jeez, what the hell? Is this supposed to be?
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly got nothing for that one.
Hey. Hmm. And then
Classic
after
zombie
that,
transformation.
you
Yeah,
got
that seems like a serial killery thing, which I feel like Resident Evil's never really done before. Like they've never done like a serial killer horror figure at all.
yeah, you got Bruce Willis from Unbreakable choking, just putting a plastic sheet over this guy. Jeez. So it seems like it's going to be like a bottle game. Maybe you just spend one time, or maybe you're going around Raccoon City, going.
It seems like there's going to be at least for sure two different locations, right? The hotel is like a level in the middle of a populated city where something for some reason is contained to just the one building, and then also this, you know, completely destroyed Raccoon City, uh, getting to return to that for after 30 years. Um, I I I feel like there might be more locations even than that in the game, but we're this is just the first trailer. But there's all these little things like they're tying in the Outbreak games with the Ashcroft last name. They're obviously we're going back to Raccoon City. That's a classic part of the franchise. That could be Oswald Spencer, and the only time we saw him on screen was five. Um, I swear I hear Jill's voice. There's the rumors have, leading up to this game's announcement that I had been hearing. It's a lot of there's going to be a new character and then Leon, and those are going to be your two leads. So I don't know. We don't clearly we don't see Leon in this trailer, but it seems like based on everything we know that they're maybe pulling from threads across the franchise. And I've also heard for a long time that they wanted this next one to be kind of the final game with a number attached to it. Like they're not going to stop making Resident Evil after this, but they might do more experimental things, maybe tied to the continuity less after this. At least, again, that's rumor, so it can't be, that's not 100% out of Capcom's mouth. So take that with a bit of a grain of salt. But
Hmm.
if they're really pulling, we're going back to Raccoon City after all this time, and there's all these other weird threads coming up. I do think that this could maybe be like a big grand finale for the plot threads that have continued across the games, and that it's going to kind of give us a fresh start afterwards.
Crowd going crazy.
And then, there's a lot of speculation about that figure too that we're seeing. There's like chain rattling sounds and stuff a little bit, and with the up close to teeth. I'm seeing a lot of people speculate that that might be released a Trevor monster from the first game. I don't know if you're familiar with that one, but it was an
Lisa Trip.
early experiment of Umbrellas that they this poor woman, with all these horrible experiments they did on her, and it basically made her immortal. Like, and it's an enemy it's the first enemy you can't kill, right? In these games, and even unlike Nemesis, where oh you do find a way to kill him at the end, or Mr. X and two, you eventually kind of have a boss fight where you do take him out. Lisa Trevor just doesn't ever die. Like you never kill her in that original game, and yeah, the manor explodes, but I mean you don't see her die. You don't see her in the manor when it explodes. And I mean, it would make a lot of sense if she wandered into the city from the manor and maybe has been roaming the ruins of Raccoon City this whole time. So yet another thing that maybe that's not what it is, but it seems possible that it could be. So just another thing that's like, all right, here's all these things from across the series that could potentially kind of tie together in one big finale game.
Okay. And this is the character right here.
Yep, that's her.
Yeah. And they yesified her right here. Didn't they? Yeah, they dolled her
Of
up.
course they did.
Okay.
Because it's the internet.
Yeah. I guess she's got the admirer somewhere. I mean, it's a pot for every lid, I guess.
I'm sure she'll be very glad to hear it.
Yeah. Okay. Very awesome. So yeah, February 27, 2026. So
And
not
then
too
also there, with the title, there's a Q sound in the Japanese, uh, uh, like the letter, there's a number 9 in Japanese. There's a Q sound in how you say it. I've seen a lot of people wondering, like, well, nine does you can't put red nine Liam. Like people have been saying that like that doesn't make any sense, but it's because of it's because of how you say it in Japanese. That's why the
uh-huh.
9 is inside of Q.
Okay.
Just something that doesn't necessarily translate to English very well.
So yeah. Don't have to wait too long for that. Just another time there. So yeah, Resident Evil Requiem there. All right. Does look disturbing. Does look incredibly disturbing there.
And they've been talking about how they want it to kind of be kind of totally redefine the gameplay of Resident Evil. So based on that too, this could be another situation like 4 and then 7, where the format's kind of totally changed and thrown around. And if it's true that you have, say, this Grace Ashkoff character and then also Leon, and they're both kind of playable main characters, maybe you have first person with one character, third person with another, like different combat systems, different gameplay styles, depending on who you're playing as. Just based on how they've been talking about how different they want this to be.
Okay. Very nice. Another game in the franchise. We got Mafia: The Old Country here. This is from there. So this is the official story trailer that we're getting in Mafia: Old Country here. Let's take a look at this one.
Betrayal burns because it can only come from someone close. An enemy can't hurt you like a friend.
Who are you?
Sono Enzo. I work here.
My friends, my family, my beautiful daughter, Isabella.
Don Torrisi looks out for
Ubisoft should take some lessons. A little bit of the facial
Sometimes
animation.
the client is feeling less than cooperative and we need to
teach them a lesson.
Remind them of their obligations.
This is between us and Spadaro.
Where I come from, commitment means everything.
If this is how he wants it, this is how it'll be.
The Dons noticed you, Enzo. This is an opportunity.
Do you wish to commit to this family?
Enzo! We can't let them get away!
When Isabella became involved, it became our business.
He died for my father, for his honor. I won't let you do the same.
And this is taking place in like old Italy, right in the 20s, right?
I think earlier than that even. I want to say this might be pre-World War One, actually.
Mm.
I'll see if I
can.
This stays between me and you.
Miss family, loyalty is everything.
We do not always get to choose what we do.
We can choose who we are.
And who are you, Enzo?
It says, what I'm finding here, it just says early 1900s. It doesn't really have a specific year attached to it, but I'm guessing it's pre-World War One, based on that.
Yeah. So this is coming out August 8th, so it's coming out pretty soon. And there is the Mafia remake that they put out there. You can play it on Game Pass, so you can do that.
We did a full stream of that as well.
Yeah, so hey, that's another game you can check out there with this. Does it look like something that you would kind of check out maybe later down the line, or would it be your first
Uh,
day buy?
I don't know if it'll be a day one buy, but I'm interested for sure. I mean, I like Italian mafia stuff in general. I like that kind of subgenre a lot. I also think it's a great idea to basically take like the flashback from Godfather 2 and go, let's set a whole story in that, basically. I think that's very smart. Let's do the whole thing in Sicily. Um, and also, there's been, it's the fourth Mafia game, and sometimes in the series, the open world elements could feel a little maybe lackluster in some of the games. I think they've actually had pretty strong narratives consistently, but sometimes like the open world stuff can get repetitive. And this one, I think, is making a very smart choice of kind of just not doing that at all. This is going to be a much more linear, just kind of straightforward. Let's just go through the story sort of thing. And I do, one thing that could get me to maybe make it a day one purchase even is this is yet another game that is going to be retailing for only $49.99 when it comes out. And I really do want to reward, just like Player Obscure, I want to reward the studios that are pricing their games at these much more reasonable price points.
Mm. I mean, and these games aren't short games. Usually, Mafia games are pretty long, so they're pretty lengthy. Um, so probably a good amount of length on that. So for $50, yeah. Hey, maybe we go back to those days. Hey, maybe the market and go like, hey, let's go back to the $50 games. Back when PlayStation 2 games came out, it was like everybody was like, oh shit, $50 games. Like, oh man. But yeah, now those days.
Hey, Remedy's putting FBC Firebreak out at $39.99.
Yeah. So should I? Because I could get on Game Pass, but I was thinking, should I get it on rather console or should I get it just on?
Do you on your PlayStation? You have PlayStation Plus to play online multiplayer, but do you have just like the basic version, or is it the higher tier that
I
comes
think
with?
it's just the basic.
Okay, so I was gonna say just like Game Pass, it's also free on the PlayStation if you have that like higher tiered version of the subscription. Because they're trying to just make it as friendly and easy to get into as everybody. The thing is it's gonna be cross play. So if say you get it on the Xbox, I get it on the PlayStation, we're still gonna be able to play it together.
Yeah. I was wondering if I should support it or not. Trying to buy it.
I mean, I want to. I mean, I love Remedy so much that I think even if I was on Xbox and I was using Game Pass, I would probably still buy it anyway. But that's just me. I mean, how much do you think you're going to get out of it? How much do you think you're going to play it? That sort of thing.
Hmm. So, the Mafia games, I do have that on Game Pass. It's one of the long list in the collection of Game Pass I got right now. That's growing, but yeah, I do have that the remastered where people can play all the games there with that. But yeah, okay, good old classic Mafia there. We got Onimusha, Way of the Sword there. Now there was an announcement for this at another game showing there. So here we're getting gameplay trailer with this. So it's an announcement trailer.
Another Capcom title too.
Yeah, so very awesome there. So let's check this out. Onimusha, Way of the Sword.
This isn't hell or my world. What is this place?
Pretty good parry system right there, you think?
I mean, it looks like it. I like how I've never played the older Onimusha games. That's the gap in my gaming history. But it looks like really tight swordplay mechanics. And the originals, as from what I understand, it was they always had a slightly more kind of slow, deliberate gameplay to them because they were kind of like, what if we took the Resident Evil formula, but set it in like feudal Japan and gave you all melee options. So there's a bit of a Resident Evil backbone in it, where it's like you kind of gotta be careful and really kind of plan out what you're doing, sort of a thing.
You don't have a chance.
Oh, that's pretty cool. And it's probably just like big kind of enemy type right here. Wonder if they'll show a boss battle.
That might be a boss with the cutscene part there.
Oh,
That makes it look like a boss.
no, this looks like definitely a boss fight. Right?
Yeah, that's definitely a boss.
Wow, very flamboyant guy here. Okay, oh, got the drip right here. This shirt, very much. Yeah. Got the hair. Looks like something more like at a that Yakuza pirate game, more like something like this character.
Sasaki Ganyu.
Got to show you what you're fighting for, man. Beautiful woman, man. Got to show you what you're risking it all for. 2026. 2026 is.
2026.
So what does his gauntlet do exactly? Do you know all the magical properties of it?
Well, as far as gameplay purposes go, I believe it's how you kind of absorb your experience points. You absorb like health items. It's kind of like your interface for how you just interact with a lot of the world in general. Story wise, I'm not sure.
Okay. Man, I'll look that up real quick. But yeah. Did you want more game footage? Was this enough?
I mean, I think that's enough for me. It's something I feel like Capcom has been on a pretty good roll in general for a while now. From Resident Evil to Pragmata, they're showing stuff off for just a few of the different franchises they got going. They brought Devil May Cry back and really made that great again with 5. So I feel like Capcom's a studio that right now, if they put their brand on something, I'm willing to kind of give it a shot almost no matter what. But I also think the style here is really good, and they showed gameplay once before too that was maybe a little more in depth. So they kind of sold me on that part already. Yeah, I mean at this point it's just a matter of what's a release date for it? When am I going to get that?
Yeah, just another vague 2026. If you had to best guess, what are you thinking?
I bet it's like fall at the earliest.
Okay.
I can see it getting pushed back even a little bit.
I think this is my favorite one so far. Out of the Summer Game Fest, one I'm most interested in. Let's move on to Stranger Than Heaven. This was another one you were excited to talk about.
And this, we've talked about this game once before, but it was just called Project Century the last time. So it also was given a official title too with this trailer.
Oh yeah, this was the game that we said that looked like I said it looked like Warrior or something that HBO show.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the first trailer was 1914, I want to say it took place, and I think it says a different date in this trailer. So I'm curious if there's like time travel or if it's just like there's just a lot of time passes over the course of the game. But there's definitely a lot going on here.
So 1950.
Oh, this is this the one that just came out?
This one said June 6th on it.
Oh, okay. All right, never mind then.
Yeah. Well, actually, hold on. Oh no. I clicked on. Oh yeah, this one says 3 days. Oh, this one's the right one. Okay. Let me go. Yeah, it says title reveal teaser trailer.
18.
That's an empty club. I guess they're not very good. Like 10 people there, 15 people.
Yeah, maybe it's opening night. You never know. Cool lighting transition too.
Maybe we're in for a good jazz soundtrack with this.
There you go. And yeah,
19.
43 this time. So the initial, kind of untitled title was Project Century. So it seems like either there's potentially going to be some supernatural elements where there's a reason for jumping around, or it is just going to take place across a very large amount of time. Either way, it's interesting.
Damn.
Just block a Molotov cocktail with your hands.
Some of the elements, like what they show, like when he has a cigarette or something like that, very like some of the way these prompts look, very kind of Detroit Become Human a little bit.
Yeah, I can see that. I was also going to say L.A. Noir a little
L.A.
bit.
Noir is that as well.
Name? Got a name?
Mako. Daito.
Daito. A Jap then, huh?
Don't I look like one?
I don't think it's culturally sensitive. I don't think you can say that, man. That's very culturally sensitive there. But...
You're not? So, what are you then?
Sana. 俺が知りてえや。
So we think it's some supernatural thing coming. He's maybe a demon or something like that.
I think it could be either one, honestly. I think it could just be historical and just take place over a long period of time, or this game could also be hiding some stuff and it could get a lot more out there than we realize.
Because what's he doing right there? Like what is he? It's just like a prompt for you to listen to the speaker.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay, so it's just that.
I think a lot of the combat mechanics look pretty cool. Cool like environmental interactions. Say something like in certain respects, it maybe reminds me of something like Sleeping Dogs, too, where I feel like you had, something that was not Grand Theft Auto. It wasn't like ripping it off or anything. Like Mafia, when it first started, kind of felt like it was ripping Grand Theft Auto off. It's got a more unique identity than that, but similar to like Sleeping Dogs, having this like kind of intimate open world that's like smaller but dense and packed with a lot of stuff. But it's also got then with the historical setting and everything here. I think this looks really interesting. Very curious to see where it's going to go.
And no release date at all for this.
Yeah, probably not even next year. Honestly, this is probably a 2027 game.
Yeah, seems like they're game that's going to take a little bit longer. And still don't know exactly what it's all going on, keeping a good mystery about it. So in the way that's kind of good, it's kind of something.
Get some intrigue.
All right, let's move on to Out of Worlds. Let's move on to that. Check out that trailer. Very unique. What stop motion animation that you have here going on?
Yeah.
This. Stop motion animation, dying kind of art that not a lot of people still do good old stop motion.
I do feel like you're starting to see it pop up in video games a bit, where I don't think it really ever used to, but lately I feel like I'm starting to see it happen more.
Didn't you review a game that was stop motion?
Yeah. The Harold Halibut is what. Yeah, Harold Halibut. And then I've seen like there's the Midnight Walk that came out in May this year. That's also got kind of a claymation stop motion style to it. I think the thing with video games is you can do that and cut down on the work that it takes to actually do full stop motion. You can make all the figures and you can have all the stop motion. Then you can scan the thing into a computer program, and then you can still kind of do like a 3D render where you can animate it a lot faster, but then you still have the basis of the real prop. So you can kind of achieve the stop motion aesthetic and the look of it, but then still have like a faster production cycle than actual stop motion.
Take a look. Out of Worlds. Was that a face hugger?
It's a really cute face hugger. I've got one of those back here.
Cute though. Yeah, cute little thing. Makes it kind of look like you're just a small little thing amongst this kind of big world here, kind of going on.
Yep. Hideo Kojima comments on this being his favorite game from the show.
Okay, very nice. Great work here. Great designs. That's kind of going on.
Don't you see? We can't.
Come on, follow me.
This creature allows you to fly, teleport. Okay. Interesting.
Just
and
great art style. I mean, you don't get to see too much of what the story is there, but really, really great art style. And I'm always pushing for hey, more co-op games, right? Make more things that you can play couch co-op, not necessarily online. And it looks like you've got some great like couch co-op puzzle platforming gameplay going on there.
Yeah. So it said Outer World is a co-op platformer adventure about the doubt and confusion that comes with communicating first-time love. Lovingly crafted and hand animated, the adventure is coming to PS5, Xbox Series X/S, and PC via the Epic Games Store in 2026. Okay. Yeah. So cool co-op game. Hopefully they do like what the other co-op game did, like that.
Split Fiction.
Split Fiction, where hey, if you buy it, you can just have the other person. They don't need to buy it. Maybe they do something like that.
Hopefully. I mean, it's a great way to get your game just in more people's hands. So,
yeah, maybe you could do something like that. And I mean, I think they can sell a lot of toys with that cute little face hugger there. I think a lot of people love that.
Oh, probably.
Yeah, that's very nice. Memories in Orbit. That's another one there. Let's check
another indie.
Memories in Orbit there. I feel like have we talked about it? Was there a showing of this before?
I think we have talked about it before. I don't remember exactly when or how long ago, but I do think it's come up.
Oh, this was Nintendo Switch. They did it at the Nintendo Direct.
Oh, yes, that is what it was. Yep.
Okay, so let's take a look at it. So this is a gameplay. This is a gameplay trailer here. Let me know if this is the right one. This is 5 days ago.
A drop.
Yep, that's the right one. Now they're just really striking art style.
I think wasn't this your favorite one at Nintendo Direct?
I think it was. Yeah, I think it was at the time for that show. Like it's just got such a striking visual look. It's almost got a similar kind of watercolor shading to it that something like Okami or that Bayonetta Origins game has. And it's very much a Metroidvania as well.
Oh, yeah, Metroidvania, yeah.
And then there's you again. The little sapling who wished to save the sun.
And like a lot of these games from the showcase, a lot of these games look like, okay, they're not going to be about $80. Looks like they're going to be a lot cheaper than that.
No, yeah. A lot of these are definitely going to be like $20, $30 probably.
Yeah, the most expensive one is probably going to be what, the Onimusha game? Probably.
Yeah, that'll be a full. Well, granted, actually, so far Capcom, even when other games started being released at $70, Capcom has actually been releasing its main line Resident Evil games at $60 still. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see about that. They might not go all the way up to that price point.
Play the demo now. Are you gonna? Have you already downloaded the demo?
I believe it's only Steam and Xbox
Ah,
that that is on right now.
Steam, Xbox. Okay. Yeah, so only that.
Otherwise, I would.
Yeah. But it is coming when it comes out. It's going to come out on all platforms when it comes out, like the Switch. I'm surprised they don't have Switch 2 on here.
I wonder if some of these studios just haven't had a chance to get like Switch marketing materials or watermarks yet.
Mm. Okay. Yeah, you need to pay that toll to get that Switch 2 watermark.
Got to pay the troll toll.
Yeah. But Memories in Orbit there. Even with the gameplay trailer, no exact date yet. Seems like it's released. So you have that, but no exact date yet. But yeah. But it's supposed to come out initially this year. It's supposed to come out.
Yeah, I got one of those that got pushed back already.
Yeah. Memories on it. And then there's a game called Felt That.
This looks weird. I don't even know how I feel about this, but I feel like it was so strange it was worth talking about. At the very least, getting your reaction to it.
Yeah, well, it seems like you play as a Muppet. Let's check this out.
It's a gritty Muppet game.
Felt That boxing right here.
Fuzzy, the tournament of a million punches, you'll get yourself
It's like trying to be very dramatic and serious, which I think is pretty funny. But
show me what you got. What? If you're gonna be champ, we gotta transform. Why are you even here? Don't waste my time.
Save us, Fuzzy, or
it feels like a South Park skit.
Or somebody made an extension of that movie with the Detective Muppets or whatever. What was that movie called?
I vaguely know what you're talking about, but I never saw that.
Yeah, which I heard wasn't really that good, but I heard it just relied too much on like
It didn't look very good.
it just was like the shock value of Muppets cursing. Like, oh, isn't that funny? Just Muppets cursing there.
This maid ain't gonna be itself. I've been taking dumps in there all day.
It's like Punch Out, though. Like the gameplay, it's literally like Punch. It's basically Mike Tyson Punch Out.
Felt that. And this is gameplay footage right here.
Yeah, that's actual gameplay.
Huh.
I mean, they made it look like they were really like puppets.
In music by Flying Lotus. Okay, very epic producer, everything like that. In music is Flying Lotus. He actually just came out with a movie this year, Ash.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Very different, very strange, very weird.
It's weird. Like I said, I don't really know how I feel about it. I just thought it was weird enough that it was worth mentioning.
Yeah. I wouldn't. I'd be surprised. I thought this may be Hideo Kojima's. Maybe he didn't like this one. Maybe this is his favorite one. But
you know, maybe once it comes out, he'll steal. Like, I can't even make games anymore. This topped everything I did.
And no release date, just says, hey, it'll be there. It's on wish list. You can put on your wish list, but no release
It almost seems like something that would be a joke, and then you'd find out it's not even like an actual game. But who knows?
Maybe they're just trolling all of us. Maybe it's gonna be a TV show, something like that. There. Last thing from Summer Game Fest before we move on to the Xbox Showcase. We got DLC for a game that Sage just recently reviewed, Lives of P. There, people are very excited about this. You got Lives of P Overture right there, which is it out right now already? I think it's out.
Yeah, they shadow dropped it, so like it took an hour or two for this store to update, but almost right after the trailer came out, it was available.
Have you played some of it already?
Yeah, I've gotten through the first like little section or two. But this is, from what I understand, they're saying 15 to 20 hours for this DLC, which means it's probably longer than that because they always give a shorter time than it actually is with these types of games. So we'll see how long it actually takes to go through. But it basically for $30, it's like it feels like a whole sequel.
Okay. Maybe Game of the Year material. Oh, I said maybe Game of maybe Game of the Year.
I mean, I wouldn't consider it DLC for Game of the Year, but that's just me. Make it best DLC kind of problem.
I'm sorry, we say?
Just do like a best DLC award.
Yeah.
Best expansion.
Yeah. You can get Alan Moore here crawling out right here. Very great. Ooh. Just using them as a broom, man.
That's what it feels like most of the time you play a Souls game, honestly.
Very God of War-esque right there.
Yeah, you get some of those epic little boss interactions like that.
Quick time events. Yeah.
Yeah, available now.
So what is the story? What is Overture? What is that about?
Well, Witcher, I mean, it's a music term, right? It's like a piece of music that you kind of start with. And so and this is something that is straight out of Dark Souls. That then they're basically copying verbatim here, which has really worked out for them genuinely so far. So take as much inspiration from the Dark Souls games as you need. But it's pretty typical for From Software. Dark Souls 1 does this. Sekiro does this. I think Dark Souls 3 does this. But a lot of the times when they release a DLC expansion, you will literally time travel to the like place that the DLC is. Sometimes you even see areas that you've already seen, but in a different time period. And it's very much the same thing here. I haven't even gotten to the first boss yet, but right away they are, the characters are commenting when you go to this new area, like, oh, this place burned down, so how are we here? But stuff like that. So it's like I said, I haven't gotten that far into it. I don't know fully story wise what's going on, but it is the Pinocchio time travel story you didn't know you wanted.
But very cool action scenes like you got here. Are people pretty high on the Overture DLC reception?
So far, so far the reviews I've seen, the word of mouth is pretty solid. This DLC, well, and actually, you don't have to buy the DLC to get this part. So this is just a free update for anybody that has the game. But they did add two easier difficulties. So there's the standard, and then there's an easy mode and a very easy mode. So your normal, just what the game is now just your like hardest difficulty, and then there's an easy and a very easy. So they clearly want more people to feel like they can play this, even if maybe you're not used to these sorts of games and the difficulty that can come with them. So they have made it more friendly to a wider audience, which I think is also cool. I'm going to continue to play it. I played the whole normal game just on just the way it was. So I'm going to stick to that for the DLC. But I think it's cool that like that opens it up to a whole new audience.
Okay. But it is available now. People can pick it up there. A add-on addition to your experience there. And the boss fight, I think you said it in the review, right? Are their characters based within like the lore of like the
some of it's coming from Pinocchio, but they also work in things from other just kind of Victorian mythology. Like I mean, there's very much like a Frankenstein in the game. They're kind of messing with other things other than just Pinocchio, but they all weave it and wrap it around very interesting twists on the Pinocchio kind of mythos, I guess. it feels like a whole Pinocchio mythology now, especially with the way they kind of fleshed it out and added to it.
Yeah. Who's the guy crawling out of the egg there? The big giant.
Oh, I have no idea.
Okay.
I've got no idea what's going on there.
What about
Um,
the woman that looks like the White Walker? What about her? Oh,
no clue.
so okay.
We'll see. I will. In the main game, there was a Frankenstein. There was very much like a Bride of Frankenstein type of boss, kind of a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde sort of character. And they teased up a sequel at the end of the main game for Oz, like a Wizard of Oz, being kind of the next thing they're going to do after this DLC. So they're going to pull from a lot of different literature for this world.
Gotcha. Okay. Very cool. So yeah, that was Liza P there. And that was Summer Game Fest. Did you want to go to the Xbox showcase, or did you want to do a review, break it up, or did you
I mean, I'm cool either way. You want to just truck through all the trailers?
Okay. I'll do this review, break it up a little bit, and I'll go back into the trailers. And then we can wrap it up with your review there of it. Of any
Good to me.
all right. Let's do a review for the movie Inu-Oh. Inu-Oh was a movie that Sage put me on to. He was very excited to talk about it there and to let me aware of it. So I'm always interested to see some new things there. Check it out. And Sage usually has really a great eye for things. So what is Inu-Oh about? So this takes place in 14th century Japan. Follows two people. The character of Inu-Oh, who is a dancer born with these kind of deformities that he has there that's made him ostracized in society, even from his own family. Things that kind of makes him different. He has this very long arms and he has a disfigured face, as well as kind of body going on. His arm, think of like that episode of Rick and Morty when Rick had that arm going on and he fought in all the kind of those battles in the arena, kind of like that. There's a little bit kind of on with him. And then there's a blind musician, who's Tomino, is the blind musician.
Yeah, and he changes his name a couple times, but he starts out as Timona.
Tomono there. So there's this blind musician, and they join together there to form this epic group there of musicians there. And they take their kind of artistic abilities on the road, and it kind of enthralls these people in Japan there. The music that plays in it is very much kind of the modern element of it because it's very much like kind of heavy metal, hair metal type music that they play.
I'd
Uh,
say it's primarily inspired by a combination of Queen, David Bowie, and Michael Jackson.
mm. Well, so you got that. So everybody kind of is loving these people there, but their music is drawing a lot of negative attention from the wrong people there, and they are being threatened there with that. But Sage, I want to get your thoughts on this. What is your thoughts on India?
And this is also it's loosely because there's a lot of fantastical stuff going on here with the literal magic and also the music they're playing. I mean, you're hearing instruments that wouldn't exist and this kind of blend of things. But this is also loosely inspired by like a real story from ancient Japan about some street performers whose art was basically destroyed, considered culturally unacceptable by authority figures and you know, just the work that they had was just kind of completely erased from history. And so no one knows what that actually looked like. So then this movie fictionalizes and kind of embellishes the tale of what that art might have been. But I think this is a really beautiful movie. And at its core, I'd say about just kind of the need to allow creativity and storytelling and to tell really different types of stories, no matter how kind of risky or weird or off the beaten path they might be. And I think it hits that message pretty hard too as it goes along. But for as serious as its message is, I think this movie is also just a really fun blast of a time to watch. It kind of feels like a concert film in a lot of ways. It has these big epic musical numbers, and each one gets kind of more fanciful and over the top than the one before it. And yeah, I mean, it goes by for me. It goes by very quickly. I feel like you hardly feel the runtime at all.
Mm. It's on Netflix right now. People want to check it out and watch it, so it's readily available there for that. And the reason we picked this movie, it is June right now. It is Pride Month. There's a character in this movie who, like you said, changes names multiple times in it.
And both of them kind of do a little bit of that as well. Inu-Oh, the character, is basically because of the ostracization that you were talking about, isn't given a name at all by by his family, and so it's they name themselves, and then the other character is like, oh, I never even really thought about that, and then they also kind of go through some name changes after that.
Mm, yeah. And so Inu is supposed to mean dog king, I think is
Yep, it's somewhat insulting, and then it's a
yeah.
little bit of a I'm going to take this insulting name and kind of prove everybody wrong a little bit with it, but also just embrace what makes you different too. Is I think a big part of it. Like you know, some of the film is also Masaki Yuasa, the director. It's him kind of criticizing Japanese no theater with just because it's so rigid and it's so you have to do it this specific way, and anything kind of that stretches beyond that is kind of unacceptable. That ties into the historical art of it, and the kind of specific cultural meanings of some of the stuff in there. But it's also, yeah, it's his way of going like, let's just like need to be able to experiment with art, and be able to do these different kind of risky things. But also and I've seen this movie in both its English dub and its original Japanese language. And well, either version you watch, you're going to hear the Japanese language for part of it, because even in the English dub, during the big song sequences, they're using the Japanese vocals because the voice actors are also the singers for the songs. And Inu-Oh is voiced by uh, non-binary musician
Avu,
named Abu-Chan.
yeah,
I believe Abu-Chan is the way you say it, but I could have that wrong. So please do correct me if I'm pronouncing that wrong. But it's clearly, even though it's not the surface of the storytelling, it's clearly playing with identity as a theme, right? Some of these characters change names, they name themselves. Their music is flamboyant and over the top, and the costuming, it's clearly pulling in again that there's the David Bowie, Freddie Mercury part, especially some of you see any of those performances from those musicians, you'll get this kind of gender bending thing out of some of their performances, and I think that's captured here quite well.
If people, don't know the music of people like David Bowie, Michael Jackson, Prince, even was another
Prince,
figure like that. Very much about with David Bowie, the phases, all these different phases he went through, the Ziggy Stardust phase. There he had many, many different kind of looks that inspired him there. But yeah, people mentioned the word androgynous was big. Maybe I think the '80s really was a lot of that androgyny.
Yeah.
That was kind of a big thing. A lot of glam, kind of rock bands, musicians.
Well, never forget, George Michael at the time was considered a straight sex symbol for women. So that
No.
tells you what the 80s, that gives you a sense of it.
Yeah. Liberace too. I think for a lot of women, a lot of women
Yeah.
liked Liberace too. That was a big thing with women. But yeah, so you had that kind of going on. But yeah, you see the music, and the music is a big part of the movie. There, so you have a mix of horror, magical elements there, plus the music, which makes this kind of a musical, plus like an opera thing going on. As
Plus
well
the
as that.
historical part, but there's a lot to it. There really is.
And then the director, we watched a little bit of an interview he did beforehand, and he mentioned how, like, very much taking cues from musicians, like the playing behind the back is very much like Jimi Hendrix. So as the showmanship that the character has there with that, and yeah, so you have a lot of that, and that's a very much a big thing in the movie there. But the character of Tomichi, who later turns into very much dressing androgyny, makeup, wearing women's kind of clothing there that you see the character wear in it. And you did mention the character, the voice actor, the Japanese voice actor is non-binary there, so that adds to the element of it. But yeah, like you mentioned, the core of the story is about representation, is about kind of being your authentic self and expressing that, and the beauty that can be there. These two people being outcasts of society, and then kind of finding a connection there, because the character Inu-Oh, he's so used to people being scared of him because of the way he looks, and because how disfigured he is. but the character that he meets is blind, so obviously that doesn't matter to them. So they're just discussing music and they kind of bond over that connection there, which I think is very good. And you mentioned, the historical element that kind of comes in there, because a lot of what he's doing with his music is also, recounting the tale of the Hiki there, or Haiki.
Heike, don't, if I pronounce it wrong, forgive me there. I believe it's Heike. Um, that's just from me trying to listen closely to how they say it in the film, how the Japanese actors say it. But yeah, I mean, I actually feel like I learned a bit of history from this movie as well. But there was, you know, to this period that this movie's taking place in, an ancient battle. And the studio and Masaki Yuasa actually did another anime called the Heike Story. That's like a short mini series. That's actually about that time period as well. Something I still need to watch. But it is, yeah, this big battle for control between two different shoguns or two
Mhm.
different people claiming to be shogun. Um, I can only get so deep into it. My knowledge is, I think, pretty surface level, but it's something I definitely want to learn more about in this movie. I feel like there is a real historical knowledge that it at least kind of hooks you on to a little bit.
Mm. Yeah, so that adds that element in there, and it's about these telling this tale of like these two clans that fought for control of Japan, and then it ended there. But they very much trying to impress him, and then the music that he's telling with this, through violence, through silence there of arrest and things like that that you see in the movie. So that you have that element there that comes in, and the way that story is told is very well done, I think, in kind of leading up to that, which is very good there. Um, and just kind of also, I mean, I showed a little bit of also the trailer here, but let me show it again. But just the animation also too is also very good as well, and how
Yeah,
it
it
expresses.
looks incredible. And I also just like, I feel like dancing has to be one of the hardest things to animate in general because the movement is constant. Like there's just every part of the body is moving and the clothes are folding and just there's just this constant movement going on. So, and it's so fluid. And there's never really like still too much stillness in this. Like, man, a few shots here and there. But then on top of that, there's also just a lot of like really creative uses of the animation. Tomona or Tomoichi, at times early on, you are seeing things animated based on just what he can hear because he's blind. And so you get these cool, almost like what you maybe would expect from like the way things might look in like a Daredevil comic.
Mm.
You're seeing his senses kind of show what the world is around him, but you're just getting these glimpses and how he perceives things that I think is really, really cool looking.
Oh yeah, there's some. I'll see if I can find a clip of it. Yeah, this scene like very much like his kind of way he kind of daredevil way sees things. Like you see that, and it's animated way differently than we see normally in the movie itself, which is really nice. And there's different animation styles that you see throughout it. Moments that kind of come up. There's like this demon creature there that kind of comes up. Like that's just this mass that you see kind of encompassing everything, which is really cool. That's a really cool sequence that they do there.
Where his
Um,
eyes are like spiraling constantly. Looks really cool.
oh yeah, that looks really good. So I think yeah, there's a lot of unique kind of touches there that is very nice. And were you so you weren't familiar with the director's work there before, or you were a little bit familiar?
So I had seen Devilman Crybaby already before this. I think that was it though. I want to say, well, actually, he actually guest animated an episode of Adventure Time back
Mm.
in like the mid 2010s. So that was the first thing I had seen, but I didn't know who he was at the time. But then yeah, with Devilman Crybaby, he directed that. That was the first time I really heard his name or really started to learn it. And then this would have been the second thing I saw from him. And since then, I've watched a couple more. I really think that Masaki Yuasa, his name belongs on there with like some of on the list of like the greatest animators living today. He should be in the same conversation with people like Hayao Miyazaki, or I suppose he's not living today, but people like really legendary work animators like Satoshi Kon and stuff like that. He's just got such a unique style. You recognize it, but also each of his things do look very different from each other. He founded the Studio Science Saru as well, which recently did Don to Don, which we reviewed last year. Um, and he's kind of the reason that that studio is so kind of friendly to its workers, which is something I've every time the studios come up, I've always made a point to be like, hey, support these people because they actually give their employees reasonable work schedules.
Hmm. Yeah. So yeah, Science Saru, who's behind the animation with this. We've talked about them many times before on the show. Like you mentioned, Donadon, Scott Pilgrim. They did a segment of
Yes.
Star Wars Visions there that they did. So yeah, and was I'm trying to see. So was one of the first things they did as a studio Adventure Time? Was one of the first?
I don't know if Science Saru technically did Adventure Time or if that was just Masaki Yuasa just himself as like a guest director.
Uh,
But
I'm seeing on Wikipedia here as I'm going by this. It says Science Saru's first animation was on the Food Chain episode of the American animated series Adventure Time, which was in
then I guess it was.
2014. So there's that. So if you want to trust Wikipedia there, there, if you want to do that. But yeah, I mean, this is a great tale. I think if you want to check it out and people want to see it there, it's only an hour and I think 40 something minutes, hour and 40 something minutes.
I think it's only an hour and a half. I think it's even a little shorter than that.
There, and it'll go by pretty fast there when watching it. Pace is really good with it.
Once you get into the second half, almost the whole rest of the movie are these song numbers. Like I said, it really feels like a going to a concert.
Yeah. So it kind of depends of whether you. I know some people don't like musicals. Kind of depends on whether you like that or not, and whether you like this style of music. This kind of glam rock metal type music that you have here depends if you like that or not. I like
I
that.
have talked to a few people that don't like musicals, but did like this movie.
Oh, okay. So hey, look, it's got crossover appeal. I mean, the cat loved it. He was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna watch it right now." It's just so good. Yeah, can't wait. I love this movie there. Yeah. So, what would be your final thoughts rating for it?
Yeah, I mean, this I've watched this probably about 12 times total since I first found this. I was just scrolling and I took a chance on it a couple of years ago, and it's kind of become one of my favorite movies. It's scratched on top of just everything I think it does well. It also just scratched like a deep itch that I have from my childhood, from like wearing out the VHS tape for the Yellow Submarine by watching that over and over again when I was like 5. So it just it hits a particular itch for me. But I think even beyond that, I think it does just so many things so well. I think it's got multiple messages, historical context messages, social messages, just great entertainment factor that all of it's just mixed in so well. And I think everything is so layered and everything enhances everything else. And it never feels like it's stopping to change what it's doing, even though I feel like it does almost change genre a couple times in the middle of the movie. You almost don't notice that it's doing it because it's so seamless. This is cinema for me. And I truly think that if I do like a best of the decade at the end of the 2020s list, it's going to be on there.
Wow. Okay. Wow, you loved it that much. Wow.
That
This is
much.
Cinema, one of the best movies of the 2020. Wow. Okay. Yeah, I like this movie. I would definitely watch it again. Like I said, I mean, I like the music in it. Maybe interested to see if I will listen to any of the songs afterwards. Just like play it.
I've got it on like my playlist on Spotify, like regularly. Am I listening to this?
No, and the music. Who was behind the music on this here?
Well, I know
Yoshidi.
Avu-chan was part of it at least, right, as the vocal performance, but I'm not sure who wrote the songs.
Yeah, so it says he's the music by him, but let's see who also contributes like writing the songs and everything like that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I don't see who wrote the songs here.
Atomo Yoshihide is the name.
Okay, so you got him there, so that works. The story really works. Like I said, truly, about the expression of art and what that really means and how that has the power on society, and how art can be used in a political manner. I think is a really great story to tell, and I think they told it in a beautiful way there with these kind of characters, and I think that really was highlighted incredibly well. Um, for me, I would give it. I'd probably give it a peak. I'd give it like a strong tune into a peak maybe with that there. I saw the English version of it. I did not see the Japanese version of it. You saw the Japanese version there.
That's why you didn't like it quite as much.
Maybe if I saw the Japanese version, maybe they would work better there.
And I'll say I've watched both. I don't think the English dub is bad actually here, but I do think it's jarring to be for it the way it swaps back and forth because it's every time a number starts up, it's swapping to the Japanese voice performance, and
Yeah.
then it's going back to the English one afterwards. And even again, I don't think the English dubbing is bad, but I do think the fact that it's going back and forth between these two things, I think that makes it kind of like it. When I watched it in English, it kind of took me out of it a lot more. So
Mm, okay. I can understand. Yeah, it was kind of a little bit of a tone shift, like because I'll be like, wait, they're singing in Japanese, but yeah, then it switches back to English there. I wonder if it's been different if it was just consistent all the way through. But the English voices are fine. I think the English voices do really well with that. So yeah, I give it a peek. Sage gives it a cinema for Inua on Netflix now. All right. Let's get back into it. Let's get back into these trailers here. Xbox Showcase. Let's start with that. We got Indiana Jones and the DLC, The Order of Giants here. Sage is going to be giving a review of that pretty soon. Sage, what do you think about this DLC trailer here?
well, it does give away just a little bit of the plot of the main game. But there's this whole thing of the Order of Giants that is a big part of the plot here. And though you do get a lot on them in the story, that's one element that I did feel like, I wish they maybe could have explored that just a little bit more. Well, here you go. This is exactly what that's for. Um, and this is going to be taking you back to one of the levels in the game. Kind of the first big one is in Vatican City, and this DLC is going to kind of take you back to that first area, go deep underground, and really get into the Roman ruins underneath the city, and really get into that and kind of explore this ancient order of giants, which I don't want to get too detail oriented about exactly what that means, just because it's a little spoilery for the main game. But I'll say that this was something I enjoyed a lot, and I can't wait for there to be more of it.
So is the Order of Giants, is that something from history cult type organization?
There is a historical thing
Okay.
for it. I don't want to say specifically because I think some of the fun of the game is discovering those historical connections and like what pieces of history they're actually using within the narrative. But it does tie in. It does tie into something that really kind of was something that was really talked about a lot in history.
Yeah. So you can play it today if you have Game Pass.
Well, the game you can, but the DLC is not coming till September.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant. Oh, okay, I thought it meant it's DLC. Okay, but the Order of it's coming September 4th is when the DLC is coming. Okay, gotcha. September 4th there, so a little bit away. Awesome there.
But it's not too bad either. Just basically the summer.
Yeah. How long did it take you to beat the game?
The main game, I'd say it was probably something like 18 to 20 hours, somewhere right in there. It was decent, but it also isn't like this massive experience either. Like it's you've got some semi-open areas with exploration, but it's a pretty good straight shot through. If you can kind of stick to the story, and then there's extra stuff to go and do. I'd say you probably get 30 hours out of it if you're doing like every little thing. But
how much did you pay for the game?
it was actually gifted to me, so I didn't buy it at all.
Oh, that's right. Your girlfriend got it for you for your birthday.
Yeah. But it was the version that came with like the season pass, so I will be able to just download the DLC when it comes out.
Oh, very cool. And I got it on Game Pass, so I didn't pay anything here. Yeah, so I did that with it. So on Steam it's let's see here, $70. $70. Okay. You think that's worth it for a game that's only about 18, 20 hours, $70?
I mean, I always say it's not necessarily about the length of the game, but about the quality of it. And I think if I spent the full price on it, I'd be happy with my money.
Okay. I mean, yeah, it is. I think it is indie. You got to spend the money on indie, man.
Well, and it's also the only good Indiana Jones thing that's come out since the 1980s.
Yeah, so hey, you got to appreciate that, man. This other continuation of that story. Also, hey, Tony Todd's one of the last things he was in. Good old Tony Todd.
Yeah, that also makes us feel a little extra special too.
All right. So that was one of the games there. Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
Yeah.
I got some new footage from that. Let me pull that trailer up real quick. 3+4. Got that. So this is the launch trailer here that was at the Xbox Showcase. Let's take a look at it. What we got going on with it.
We've talked about these a little bit before, but I'm just a big fan of these games. 3 in particular is the one that I like really spent a lot of time with as a kid. I'm also really glad to see that we're getting a little bit more on the guest characters this time, because the 1+2 remake, you don't really have very much of that. But in like the old games, you have like Spider-Man and Wolverine and Darth Maul and Shrek and all this goofy stuff. And here we already saw the Doom guy and the Revenant monster from Doom in the last trailer, but they show off a new one here, and I think it's almost getting to it. But it feels like how did this never happen before? Actually, like this feels like a perfect character to put into one of these games.
So you got it right here. Yeah, Mikey, Michelangelo there, and it's his character
Doesn't it
design.
just seem like it should have already happened?
Yeah, I mean that's what the Turtles. They're famous for eating pizza and skateboarding. I mean it's kind of like some of the things they're most famous for. And they got his design from that new movie,
The Mutant Mayhem.
Mutant Mayhem, yes, which I really liked a lot. That movie was really good.
I still need to watch it. I really, really want to.
Yeah, really good. And I had a great interview with one of the animators from the head animators from that movie.
That's right.
Yeah, awesome. But yeah, good old Mikey. Mikey's in here.
That's a great choice. And now, the Doomslayer and Michelangelo can race against each other.
Yeah, worlds collide. Damn, that's kind of scary, dude. Tony Hawk just kind of
worship Tony Hawk.
God, Tony Hawk there. It's kind of scary, just him leering over you like that. Then you got Doom guy. And the demo. Did you check out the demo?
Well, so here's one thing I don't like, even though I'm very excited for this game. You're only getting the demo if you've pre-ordered it.
Oh, okay.
No. So it's not just here's a demo for everybody. Here's give us your money and then you can try the game.
Oh. Hey, this got the Switch 2 watermark. This has this.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
So
not everybody was left out of
that. July 11th. So okay, still got some time. July 11th there. I don't know if I'm going to pick it up day one, but maybe it's on sale or something like that.
I believe it is also a game that's retailing for $49.99.
I'd pick it up for lesser. I'd pick it up for like 30.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
But hey, at least it's not 80.
Yeah, at least it's not 80 there. Which I heard people complaining about Mario Kart. Apparently it's crashing or it's glitching. Some issues.
Oh, well, I wonder if it's the game or the system, but sometimes it's also why you don't buy a console on day one. That's, just saying. But yeah, an $80 game better not be crashing on you. That's all I gotta say is you better have that thing working if I'm spending that much money.
Let's go into another one here. Let's go into another game. We got Ninja Gaiden 4. Speaking of some nostalgia kind of going on there. We got that. And let me play the trailer for that. At the Xbox Showcase. So Ninja Gaiden 4, this is the release date trailer for this. So let's check it out here. Let me know if this is the correct trailer. Make sure.
Oh yeah, that's definitely the right one.
Watch your back, Yakumo.
This is the first game in the franchise that Platinum has been involved with.
I'll kill the dark
So I
dragon
just
myself.
famously made Bayonetta.
My duty as a
Only difference in the Bayonetta style. He's just drilling people.
The dark dragon free of its consequences.
Pace is really good, fast pace.
This is it.
Sayori.
Ryu, there's something I need your help with.
Definitely the type of action game I definitely want.
Yeah, it looks epic. It looks great. It looks like there's lots of super over the top boss fights and crazy monster designs. I mean, that's right up my alley.
The difficulty will probably be really high, as much probably with a lot of these.
And that is famously the case with these games. Although part of me wonders if it might be a little easier, just because I feel like Platinum games don't usually tend to be like that difficult. But Ninja Gaiden's typical reputation under Team Ninja has been, yeah, usually they're pretty hard.
October 21st this year. Always good to see a game come out this year. Always good. Yeah.
A lot of these showcases are usually about the future and what's coming later. So yeah, you're right. It is nice.
So PS5 here. Very, very nice. So, hey, you don't have to wait too long. So before you know it, it'll all be December. Then it'll be next year. Then it'll be December 2026. Before you know it.
Because none of us can escape the passage of time.
Yeah. Well, that time is just speeding up, man. So Ninja Gaiden 4 there. Let's see. Outer Worlds 2. Let's check out.
This is one that people are very much complaining about having an $80 price tag attached to it.
Okay. Outer Worlds 2. We got a release date trailer for it. So why? Let's see. Is it worth $80? Let's check it out. She reminds me of the old woman from Futurama.
that might be on purpose.
But this pesky Earth Directorate agent is mucking things up. They're not alone in doing so. And they think they can just choose how things play out. They could stop us from stealing the Protectorate's brainwashing technology, which we need to improve our market share. What if this stranger aligned with the Order and that world computer of theirs? That could be the key to closing the rifts that threaten the colonies.
Were you a fan of the first Outer Worlds? Or?
So it's on my list to play still. I do need to get around to it at some point. I know people that were really big into it though. My sister in particular she does not finish a lot of games. Some of it's time, some of it's just how many games actually hold your attention long enough. But the first one was one that she just like plowed through, did everything you could do in it. And I'm a big fan of Obsidian in general. Fallout New Vegas, Pentiment, both games we reviewed. Stars and Knights of the Old Republic 2 back in the day. They've done a lot of stuff that I've been a fan of. So I want to give this series a shot. And they also, to me, have always been better, with the one game they did. And then some of their staff came from Black Isle originally, who handled the first two Fallout games way back in the day. But to me, what the Outer Worlds seems to be, and again, haven't played it myself, but it seems to kind of capture the satire of the old school Fallout stuff that I've always felt like the Bethesda Fallout hasn't quite managed to pull off. And so I want to be into this series because I feel like it's the people that I think actually know how to make Fallout, making a kind of Fallout light sort of thing. 80 is a lot to ask though. And maybe maybe I play the first one and I love it that much, but even in that case, I still feel like it's just, I mean, look, after Expedition 33, I don't know how much of an excuse there can really be anymore, you know? That kind of poked a finger in the games industry a little bit and was like, hey, you can do something amazing that has all this stuff to it and can last you 100 hours and still sell it for only $50. So, I think Obsidian probably is not deciding that price point. Microsoft owns them. Microsoft is the one who is saying, hey, this is
Mm.
what we can sell this at. But, you know, and I mean, part of it is also they're trying to push more people to just get Game Pass, right? I
Mm.
think Nintendo, they've got their own different set of reasons, but I think Microsoft pushing the $80 games is also their way of going like, hey, games are really expensive, but you could just get Game Pass and you just don't even have to worry about it, right? And I do think that it's like in a negotiation, right? Like you go with the high thing first. You go higher than you actually want, right? And then when you go to a lower price point, it seems super reasonable. And I really think this is a way to get more people to just sign up for Game Pass.
Mm. Okay.
Why this menace must be wiped from the face of existence. Or, better yet, brought to our side through the power of capitalism. Now, let's get out there and buy our way to victory!
That's another cute little creature there. Maybe can
Oh
make
yeah,
some very Star Wars-ish kind of little creature.
it does have a bit of a Star Wars look to it, doesn't it?
Yeah, kind of looks like kind of like a Star Wars-esque version of like Stitch from Lilo and Stitch, kind of more.
Yeah, it does. It does.
So you mentioned like kind of Fallout Light, so it's kind of people who maybe Fallout is a little too much for them, and this is kind of more of a simpler game, or
Well, it's not even that. It's just that, you had Black Isle, one of the original two Fallout games. Bethesda got the franchise, and then they lended it to Obsidian, who had some of the old people from the original Fallouts. And I think they made such a good Fallout game with New Vegas. But ever since that came out, it just seems like Bethesda's not super interested in letting anyone else make Fallout other than themselves again. And so Obsidian not having access to the IP, it's kind of a fine, I'll do it myself sort of thing where like, I think they could and would make another Fallout if they had the opportunity to. But this is their way of going, we're gonna do something that has a similar satire element and kind of goofiness and style to it, but we own it and we get to decide what we're doing with it.
okay. October 29th, Outer Worlds 2. $80 price point. I don't know. I guess people will decide if this is up to them. Yeah, so they'll vote with the world.
It's also funny too because it's the satire is like capitalism, right? So much of it clearly they said the word like 4 times at the end of the trailer, but then also it's also a product of like capitalism because of the price of it and how far that's being pushed. So a little bit of irony in there, but I'm sure the people at Obsidian know. I just don't know if the people at Microsoft are aware.
Well, video games not political. There's no politics.
No, none whatsoever.
None whatsoever. I wonder what you call that hairdo, that style. Where that's from exactly, but
the one that the woman on the screen had.
Yeah.
God, I don't know. But you're right that Futurama is like the other main place I feel like I've seen that.
Okay, something interesting here. Super Meat Boy 3D is the game here. So the game you were interested in as well.
Yeah, well, the first Super Meat Boy was like kind of during the first era of indie games in like the 360 era where they had that whole Xbox Live Arcade marketplace thing. It was one of the early, like alongside like Limbo, and it was like a 2D side scroller, like super brutally difficult, like platformer. So this being 3D is a big change up, but I think it looks like they might be capturing something that game came out, at least 10 years ago, 12 years ago, probably at this point.
Let's take a look.
That's also interesting.
What?
That's a Mario pipe.
Oh yeah, the Mario pipe.
And this is not a Mario. This is not a Nintendo game. That's curious. That's very curious.
Mario might sue. They don't play about that. Nintendo quick to sue.
Well, or that means there's some sort of partnership going on in the background that we haven't been fully made privy to yet. The original was 2010.
So is he just naked right now? Or?
I mean, he's literally like a blob of like ground up meat. So he's just leaving like a blood trail everywhere he goes.
Oh, he got grounded up right there.
There we go. Just because he's ground up doesn't stop him from getting ground up. Great as a style because it's something that's very cutesy, but also kind of brutally violent at the same time.
And they can get away with it because it's cute, small. Kind of get away with it.
The original very much had that feel to it as well.
Yeah, early 2026. Early 2026 is what we're thinking. It's kind of fun. Play right there.
Yeah, I mean, the original is just a really great, well-designed platformer. There's not much to it. There is no story. It's just like a kind of old school feel, all about the gameplay. This looks similar. It's just kind of taken that, like, Mario to Mario 64 or, Metroid to Metroid Prime kind of style leap into a different, 3D kind of style.
Okay. Got that. I'm surprised I didn't see this on your list. I'm surprised that you didn't put it here. I guess maybe I can't remember if you said you've read the comic or not. There of it.
Oh, I know exactly which one. Yeah, Invincible.
Yeah. Have you said that before?
I actually have not read the comics. The show is this is one of my gaps in comic history, but I've enjoyed the show, at least of what I've seen so far.
So this was kind of one of the bigger announcements. There's been a lot of rumors about the game, and then people like what else is going to happen with the Invincible franchise. I think they're still interested in doing live action with it, right? I think they're still talking about that.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
Interesting.
They're still talking about that. But yeah, so we have a fighting game here with Invincible. Invincible versus is it a 3-on-3?
Yeah, it's another tag fighter, which there seems to be getting a lot of those announced right now.
Yeah, a lot of tag fighters there This style, it reminds me of
This is
something.
ridiculous.
And then
Kind of makes me think of the Telltale games.
Oh, maybe that's what it is. Telltale. Life comes at you fast.
I believe Skybound did help produce that fourth and final season of the Walking Dead game, so they have had their hand in Telltale.
Had enough yet?
No, Dad, not even close.
Do you like the style with the fighting game?
I mean, I like the art style here. I think again, it's reminiscent of the Telltale style, but just a little more advanced. The idea of an invincible fighting game is not, I don't think, necessarily bad, but I don't know. To me, what I see in the gameplay just feel a little basic. Like, I feel like it's going to be a novelty game where if you're a super fan of this franchise, you might get a lot of mileage out of it, but I just don't know if I'm seeing enough to make me think that this is going to be like a great fighting game if you take the Invincible branding off of it,
And we're about to get into some of the gameplay for the fight.
hoped you'd understand why
I wonder if that's going to happen in the game. Like, there's these transition type scenes to a new kind of arena, new kind of transition ground. I wonder if that's what they'll do.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a couple fighting games that have done stuff like that. So I mean, they pull from the best, right?
accept our rule or die.
I'd like to propose a third option.
And it seems like they do have the voices from the show that they've come to do the video games. So that's also good there.
Yeah, that's good. I don't know what Rex thinks he's going to do here, but you know.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much a lot of these characters can do against Viltrumites, but yeah, there's only like a few of these characters that can actually take on them. But yeah,
it's a video game. I can let that go.
You know, hey man, you know, if Charles Xavier can use his wheelchair in a fight, then hey man, anybody can be in a fight game. There you go.
We need to see more of that, I think, in more games. But
not anymore. I'm the guy who's going to throw you off this planet for good.
Well, that seemed that voice, that lip sync seemed a little off there, didn't it?
The lip sync feels a little off. I don't know if it's because of the frame drop thing, or they're trying to do a little bit of that Spider-Verse style thing with the animation frames, but yeah, the lip sync is definitely off.
Yeah, because watch this when they go close up to his lips.
Not anymore. I'm the guy who's going to throw you off this planet for good.
Yeah, that don't even match what he lips.
No.
I trusted you.
What do you think? I see what you say. It's a little basic. I can see that a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. It just doesn't. It just doesn't scream like this. This has got too much outside of the brand to really pull you in. And I could be wrong. You know, maybe I try this and it feels way better than I think it looks. But I do feel like this looks like the type of like novelty fighting game that if it's like $20-$30 and you could just pick this up, it'll probably do pretty well. I don't think this is going to do super well with like the general audience if it's like a full price game though.
Yeah, like if it's like $60-$70 or something like that.
Yeah. If it's like a smaller kind of AA title and it comes out $30, $40 maybe even. But if it's really much higher than that, I don't know. I don't see a lot of success for it.
And that character's Bulletproof, I think it's called. Bulletproof. I remember.
Is he from the third season? Because I actually haven't gotten to the third season yet.
I think he shows up in the second season.
Did he show up in the second half of the second season?
I
haven't even watched that far.
Okay. I think he does show up in the second season. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I might have stopped watching right before that.
Yeah, because he comes in because they need bodies because like when the Titan team becomes the Guardians of the Globe and some of them also leave, then he kind of also helps out. I think. Yeah.
They're like, hey, we need more people to sign up. We all keep getting killed.
Yeah. So he's a person there that kind of comes in. That doesn't really look too much like Eve, though. It doesn't really like from the actual show.
Yeah, the art style for her doesn't totally capture the face of the character. I will say, one thought this is giving me, it almost looks like you gave like a higher budget to some of those like Cartoon Network in the browser games that you would be able to play on like the website. Like, it was a bigger budget than that, but it's like if you took that and gave it a bigger budget.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember like when Teen Titans had those, like when you go Cartoon Network or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, you just use the little keyboard and just reach right in the browser itself. You'd play them.
It kind of a little bit reminds me of that Power Rangers fighting game, like that.
Oh sure.
Yeah, that one.
See how you like this? It's an army.
I am ending you. I see it all now.
I wonder if they're recording new lines or if that's lines from the show. I think maybe they're recording new lines.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. Some of them sound like they could be lines from the show.
Yeah. They're keeping that violent style, so that's still
Yeah,
remains.
I
Um,
do like that part of it.
yeah. So 2026 coming. Like you said, I mean, I think it has the brand going for it. It's got that. Not the most exciting looking fighting game I think I've seen. Not we just saw. We talked about that Marvel game. Um,
Yeah, that looks so much more interesting and expansive and fluid and creative to me.
yeah, and it's not just because of like the Marvel characters. Like you could like it has this creative art style with it that's very like kind of vibrant and interesting to look at. There, it's like Dragon Ball Fighters. It's like I would play that game even if it wasn't Dragon Ball Fighter. I mean, just the way that animation style
Yeah,
is kind of done,
I don't even really like Dragon Ball that much, and I love that game.
and it's just like so much is going on the screen and everything is lighting up. It's like oh shit, even if I'm losing, I'm like oh fuck, okay, this is cool. Like it's like a lot of stuff happening. This one's eh,
I don't
um
think it looks bad even, but we'll see.
yeah. So there was another thing that popped up there I didn't see on your list, and that was this handheld that people have been talking.
Oh,
Yeah. So this has been also rumored for quite a while whether or not Xbox are they going to get into the handheld game. There's also rumors that Sony, PlayStation, they're going to also do another handheld.
for this
Uh,
one, some specs straight up leaked a while back too.
yeah. So let's take it. This is the ROG Xbox Ally X. Okay, that rolls off the tongue.
There's gonna be a lot of memes about playing ROG.
Yeah. So let's check this out.
I thought it was gonna be something Godzilla related, to be
Yeah, I was like,
honest.
that music is trying to be epic. It's like, man, you're literally crafting Eve here with this. You're crafting your own controller. I like that design.
I mean, it looks fine. I mean, it looks totally functional and smooth and sleek. I just would never ever get one.
um, Looks sort of kind of reminiscent. Steam Deck has kind of like a little of that
Yeah.
design to it there. Um, and I guess the purpose is if you already have a Steam Deck, or I mean, well, I guess we'll see more. You said the specs already on this leaked already.
Yeah, like a year ago, I want to say.
Okay, so I want to maybe I'll
Which
try
could
to look.
change a little, maybe.
Um, I'll try to look it up, the capacity and the capabilities of this, but I'll see. I want whoever's doing the music for this commercial. I mean, I'm kind of more interested who's the DJ for this music actually. Rather than
Honestly, I'm right there with you.
okay. One thing that it didn't show, I guess you can't dock it. I guess you can't
A
have it.
reason to buy it?
Oh, well, I mean, I mean, some people might say that. But I guess you can't dock it like you can, the Switch.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
that's a good point. The Steam Deck doesn't come with a dock, does it? Like you have to buy that separately.
yeah, you got to buy that separately. Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if they have that sort of thing where it's like, yeah, you can dock it, but you got to buy like a whole different thing to be able to.
Yeah. That's not a lot of memory. 24 gigabytes memory.
That's it. Oh my God, that's nothing.
Yeah. You can't.
500 on the like PS5 barely gets you anywhere. So,
Um, I guess you're not a fan, not a fan of the controller.
Well, I mean, I'm sure it's perfectly functional. It's not even that I think it looks like a bad piece of hardware. It's just this is coming at a time when I feel like Xbox is making their consoles feel like they're a little obsolete. Unless you already have one, I suppose that's different. But like if you're on the PlayStation and you're like, I mean, just this is my own personal experience. I've for a good number of years, I was like, I want to get the Xbox Series X at some point, but it's I'm making sure I get my PS5 first. And then, this point comes along when they're putting Gears of War and Forza, and they're starting to bring all the Xbox games over to the PlayStation and kind of go multi-platform like Sega did back in like 2000. And so now I'm sitting here going like, oh, well, okay, I guess I feel like there's no reason for me to get an Xbox now because eventually all the stuff I want to play that's on the Xbox, it's going to make its way over anyway. And I feel like that's the same thought I have towards this. It's like if all the things on the Xbox are just going to get ported over to the PlayStation 5 or the Switch 2, why do I need to invest in another piece of Xbox hardware? Like what's my incentive to do that if I'm just going to be able to access the same thing on any other device anyway?
Mm.
It just
So
seems like a weird time to bring a new hardware of any kind out.
there are two options. You get the Ally X, or you can get just the regular Ally. The Ally X is 24 gigabytes, and then RAM 1 terabyte. The Ally is 100. It's 16 gigabytes. RAM is 512 gigabytes. There,
It's
uh,
better.
got that. The specs on this. Let me see here. Let's see. So you had the AMD Ryzen there processor. You have that with this. With the Ally X, you get the Extreme processor, so the AI Z2 Extreme processor, and then the oh yeah, you say something?
Oh no, no,
Oh,
no, no.
oh, sorry. And then the other one, the Ally, you get the Z2A processor, so you have that with it. You can't upgrade the storage, so you do have that if you want to upgrade that. Display, so you have a 7 FHD 1080p IPS. You have 120 hertz there refresh rate. FreeSync Premium. Crowning Gorilla Glass Victus. Anti-reflection. Okay, got that. I guess you could play it in the sun, I believe. Okay. What else you got here? Battery life. Seems like here with the Ally X you get 80, and with the Ally you get 60. You get that. Okay. All right. Like I said, I don't know why would you get this instead of just getting a Steam Deck. There instead of getting that.
Yeah.
Because they, boasting like, okay, the experience of the library and all that. It's like, well, okay, a lot of that stuff is already if you got Steam already and have that huge
Yeah.
game library.
That's where most of the Xbox stuff is. Unless outside of the Xbox, like you can access like everything on Steam.
Yeah. You got that. I don't see a price on this. Let's see.
That's actually a good point. Well, and then another thing too. Let's see if I can find the prices on it. But like another thing is, I'm just not the target audience for handhelds in general. Like if I was never that much of a Game Boy player, I wanted to plug the GameCube into the TV. You know, it's it's going to appeal to certain people more, partially just based on that. So like you kind of just can't really throw a handheld at me and get me interested. Like even the Switch, if you couldn't dock the Switch, I wouldn't really be that interested in the Switch. I don't take it out of the TV dock. It's always plugged in. I don't travel with it. So if you're someone that does like to take things and travel with them, maybe this is going to be more appealing to you. But I don't know. That's just me. That's just there's just like there's a barrier for me that's like even just on a conceptual level, it's just not my kind of thing. And then on top of that, there's the whole yeah, you can play Xbox games on anything else now, or yeah. I don't know. I don't see a lot of incentive to really get one of these.
Oh, sorry, I
And I
meant
don't see a price. I don't see a price anywhere, even on their official website.
yeah, because that's where I was looking. Yeah, I'm sorry, I
I
meant
think they haven't announced one yet.
no, and it's coming out. They said holiday 2025. It's coming
Yeah, that's kind of weird that they haven't announced a price yet. That makes me think it's a lot more expensive than because they want to have people like settle on the idea of the product and then announce a price later after people aren't thinking about it anymore. And then kind
out.
of if you do it all at once, then people are just gonna be like, oh no, writing that off, I'm not getting it. If you break it up, you might get some people where they're like, oh, they get used to the idea of wanting one. And then you spring the price on them, and some of them might be like, well, I can justify it.
Yeah. So I mentioned. Sorry, I didn't mean to say 80 hours of their battery life. It's watts. That's what it was.
Oh, okay.
Watts hours. So it's 80 for the Ally X and then 60 for the Ally there.
Okay.
So it says. So with the 80 watts hour battery, the Ally X is supposedly offering up to 8 hours of playtime on a single charge. Okay. Yeah, but with some
Not
kind of
bad for a handheld, I guess.
with some larger titles, they were saying it could be maybe 2 to 3 hours. If you
Oh,
actually
okay.
put,
Depending on the game.
yeah, so it depends on how powerful the game there lasts. If you were doing, they said if you like mostly if you were doing like just watching Netflix on it or something like that, I guess 14.5 hours. So yeah, but if you're doing more lighter games that don't require as much energy, I guess yeah. So you're in up, you could probably do 8 hours there too. Yeah, of that. Hmm. Yeah. Okay. Or maybe they're just trying to how people maybe the reception to it is like maybe they're waiting on that. Like, okay, if the people hyped
Yeah,
about
I
it, if
think
people
so.
cold on it, and then they'll drop the price. But for it to be coming out this year, it's like no price. It's like, yeah.
That makes me think it's pricey.
What are you thinking? What do you think the final price would be?
I'm thinking 500,
500. And the
maybe
Switch
more.
Switch 2 is 500, right?
Switch 2 is 500. I think it's at least competitive with the Switch 2. Maybe more even.
Maybe they try to cut its legs out under it. Maybe they go like, well, no, we'll be 400.
Right. But I think they're under if that's what their thought is, I feel like they're underestimating the fact that Nintendo has like an extra brand loyalty that like Xbox does have that in like the US and maybe a little bit in Europe, but in like the Asian territories, they just don't have a foothold, and so like they're going to get completely boxed out by the Switch in all of those places, basically half the world.
Mm. Yeah. So, and then somebody in the comments mentioned, instead of console wars, it's handheld wars because Sony's maybe
Well, no one's ever going to win that but Nintendo.
Yeah, I mean they just got the lock on that. Or I mean, well, no, nobody buys the Steam Deck as much as they buy the Switch. That's
Yeah. The Steam Deck, I feel like is a good product, but it's for like tech enthusiasts or maybe people that like really travel a lot, and so they've got a reason to bring it places. The Switch it's just got a bigger player base, and it's just going to have a bigger player base than I think anything else. Like Sony's tried with the PSP. They had the PSP, PSP Go, PSP Vita. They did like 3 generations of that. It never was competitive with anything like the DS or anything Nintendo was putting out.
Yeah, they just didn't have the games to go with it. Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, everybody wants to play, Mario Kart. Everybody wants Mario Kart. Everybody wants Smash. Everybody wants that, and play that. So it's hard to compete with that.
What's Microsoft play Call of Duty on the plane?
Yeah. Say Game Awards on the plane while you're playing Call of Duty. I mean, handheld.
Right.
Yeah. So all right, let's move on to another trailer here. We got Keeper, something you were interested in.
Yeah, this is from Double Fine, who did the Psychonauts games.
Okay. Very nice. Let's check out the trailer. Alice in Wonderland-ish.
Yeah. Well, at first I honestly thought it might be another Psychonauts game when the trailer first started because it has that kind of there's an almost exaggerated, maybe claymation-y look to Psychonauts that this seems to share.
Hmm.
But this is like a, totally like not verbal at all, like puzzle platformer sort of thing. Like you're just playing as this lighthouse. There doesn't seem to really be like characters in this. It is
Hmm.
much more this weird world and just kind of the kind of bizarre puzzle gameplay mechanics that you are able to use in it.
Hmm. So that's it. You're just kind of walking around this world as this lighthouse with this bird. It's attached.
Yeah, it's definitely. I don't think it's supposed to be a very story intensive game. I think this is kind of all about what are the puzzles, what does the platforming feel like. When, admittedly, it's being a short trailer, you don't get a great feel for that, and you probably won't unless you play it. But hey, it will be on Game Pass, and I think the studio has generally done pretty great work. So I have faith that they'll have some good platforming mechanics in there.
October 17th. Seems like a good time to come for that game.
Well, everybody's announcing release dates in October and November and stuff now because Grand Theft Auto 6 got delayed. So
Ah,
everybody's like, "Oh, thank God we can actually put stuff out now."
the field is clear.
Yeah.
Another one you're interested in, Beast of Reincarnation. If it's,
There's something very funny about this one.
okay. Interested to hear your thoughts on what's funny.
Tell me what you think of the graphics.
Hmm. Well, first of all, it's got a cute little animal. I like that. I got the little wolf there. That's
Yeah, it's a great, it's a solid dog. Who doesn't like a good wolf dog thing in a video game, eh?
yeah, I like that.
Now, I don't know. Did you recognize the studio that they showed there that's making this?
Did they flash real quick?
It
Or
did. It's a studio called Game Freak.
game? I don't recognize that name.
So what's funny about this is I think this looks pretty sharp graphically. As far as the detail of the environments go and lighting and all that. Game Freak is who makes Pokemon. So why don't
Oh,
if they can do this, why do all the Pokemon games still look like GameCube graphics
uh,
if they're capable of this?
I mean, don't some people find a little nostalgia about that? About like some of the Pokemon games looking like that?
Well, sure, but look at the modern Mario games. Those have better graphics and yet still maintain that simple cartoony art style. And yet the
Hmm.
Pokemon games, yeah, they've maintained the cartoony art style, but they still look like they're 20 years old.
Mm. Yeah, I do hear a lot of people always complaining about, especially the way they function. Also, sometimes the way that.
So I just looking at this and like, if this team's capable of this, then I don't understand why Pokemon hasn't doesn't look better.
Hmm. So it's like you got a mix of technology plus kind of magic here going on.
Yeah, very much like a post-apocalyptic fantasy world where you would have had some sort of advanced tech, modern human society.
Is that kind of like a little bit what Stellar Blade was doing?
Yes, but still, and Stellar Blade was ripping that off of the near games, at least in my opinion.
Yeah.
This to me looks a little more stylistically unique than Stellar Blade did,
More stylistic. You said more stylistic than Stellar
but
Blade.
unique.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, Stellar Blade was stylistic. It just I felt like it looked like a lot of other things, whereas this, like there's a general aesthetic that I've seen before, but I feel like it's doing more of its own thing with it.
Mm. But does she show camel toe? That's important. That
That's what you really got to know. Is that what the Beast of Reincarnation really is?
Yeah. What's the even point of playing this if you're gonna have a woman? You ain't gonna show cameras. What's the point? Come on.
Better sue him.
封じ後エマ、お前こそが輪廻の獣を滅ぼす刃となる。
What do you think? Could be maybe kind of generic. Kind of like that, like this anime kind of style here with, you're the special one and you got to destroy the creature. Could be kind of generic like that.
I think it could be. It's definitely pulling from like some Studio Ghibli-esque stuff too. But I think mostly what I see here that I feel is unique is certain things like the tree branches growing into a path as you're walking alongside it or walking on top of it. There's a very like, it just feels like there's a lot of environment stuff that feels like it's different. And I mean, it could end up being, kind of forgettable, but I think it, at least personally, I saw it like Stellar Blade, and then I look at this and I'm like, this seems like it would have more going on than that. But yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I'm cautiously optimistic. I want this to be good. I like games like this and this kind of style there, but.
And I want Game Freak to be like, make a game that doesn't look 20 years old. And this might be the opportunity.
But it looks good. Yeah, it does. And I like that name, Beast of Reincarnation. Okay. And then we got At Fate's End. That one right there. Let's check this out.
So this is made by a studio that was, won a lot of Game of the Year awards with their last game. It's called Spiritfarer. I forget what year it actually released in. But we've actually streamed two of the studio's games. I believe Sundered is this kind of Metroidvania Eldritch thing. I think you were in the chat to see us do that. And then Jotun was like a kind of Viking Norse fantasy that they also did. So they've had a pretty good track record. They've got three very impressive, like very well regarded kind of indie darling games.
Gotcha. It reminds me of that game you did a review for on the channel.
Neva?
Yeah.
Yep, I totally see similarities to that as well. That's pretty metal. Doesn't pull a sword out of your spine.
Yep. I'm interested. The animation is great.
Yeah, the animation is very striking. The studio's always done a great job of that. But also the combat seems interesting. It seems like there's this kind of I don't know if it's like there's a turn-based element. Yeah, it's like certain sword strikes or like clashes, and then there will be like cards that come up, and it seems like the card is you pick one of those, and that is then like doing some sort of additional attack or determining an attack or creating some sort of extra attribute in some way. I'm not 100% sure if I understand exactly how it's working, but it definitely looks like they're experimenting with a kind of new type of system or incorporating elements of different systems together.
Yeah. And while in the fight, you can make these dialogue options.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what the story is here going on.
I have no clue.
I'm still find the story, but this looks really good. It looks really interesting. This game is. Coming in 2026, this game is there. At Fate's End, it says here is an action adventure game where you fight the ones you love, and your skill tree is your family tree. Okay.
Okay.
Explore a lush fantasy world, defeat the foul creatures of the realm, and duel your estranged siblings to decide your family's fate. Okay. So yeah. Yeah. So if you hate your family, maybe this is a game for you. If you want to live out that fantasy, killing your family members, maybe this is it.
Some anti-Father's Day game.
Yeah. Okay. I wonder about this. It says here at Face End, you'll play as Princess Shan, who wields the God Sword, Aesius, which already sounds like a very cool sword. And she'll fight her sibling in duels, where combat is waged not only through swordplay but through dialogue, psychological insight, and hard-won knowledge of shared history. According to the press release revealing the game, it'll feature various endings, meaning your family's future sinks or swims depending on your choices. Okay, that's intriguing.
Very cool. Definitely seems creative and just unique and different.
Yeah. Sometimes always the most interesting ones, the ones that are like 2026. It's like, oh damn, gotta wait a little bit. Then we got Chronos: The New Dawn.
This is one we've seen a couple times, talked about a couple times, so we don't have to get too deep into it. But it is the next game from Bloober Team, who did the Silent Hill 2 remake, and this is their kind of dead spacey time travel horror game that they're doing. I mean, I think after Silent Hill, they've definitely just earned a lot of goodwill with horror fans, and yeah, I can't wait to see more of
So
this.
here's actually a gameplay trailer. We never saw gameplay footage. So here's
Yeah, it's mostly been just like kind of cinematics and stuff up until now.
This is the one where people thought Marie Antoinette was in it, or no, Maria Curry.
Yes.
Marie Curry.
Yes, you know Maria Curry. Yep.
The predecessor, ND3500, reached. Accessing predecessor's travel log. Attempting data salvage.
I have encountered an unprecedented orphan. It was in a state of suppressed recomposition.
The behavior pattern of the orphans populating the area is highly unusual. They become exceptionally aggressive.
You're definitely gonna see a lot of disgusting.
It is highly recommended to proceed with caution.
Well, the creatures in this do this interesting thing where they will merge together into bigger ones. So where some of the gameplay is going to be trying to kill them before they can kind of pull together and become more dangerous.
In coordination.
Destroying the nest is now in front.
It actually reminds me of the Thing a bit more than anything.
That is right there.
Yeah, that's nasty.
It reminds me of The Thing. Yeah, I see that.
Which was one of the inspirations behind Dead Space in the first place, but this almost feels even more like they're just constantly morphing and kind of turning into different stuff.
Okay, so this one, fall 2025. Okay, so this one's fall 2025.
I was surprised it didn't have a date, considering again we're halfway through the year already.
What do you think about that? I mean, it's really not a whole lot of gameplay here. It's just kind of okay.
Yeah, I mean it's gameplay. It's just cut up and very sizzle reelish. But there's been little clips that have been longer that they've shown off. I like what I'm seeing. I mean, it seems like they've got a handle on the gameplay part, I think, pretty well. I think they've proved they can do that. I guess what for me is the mystery factor is how interesting is the story. There's some interesting time travel stuff going on, and I feel like we're still yet to really learn a lot about that. So that for me, that's the biggest question mark. Is I want to know a little bit more about the narrative.
Okay. Yeah. I'll wait to see what the price is. This might be. I'd wait to see what it is before I think about picking it up. But yeah, I'll see
Well,
Uh,
and keep in mind too, a lot of people were thinking, "Hey, Silent Hill 2, that looks janky. It looks low budget. It doesn't look like a, as nice of a game as Silent Hill 2 remake deserves." And then once it came out, everybody was like, "Oh, we just didn't get to see enough of it."
hmm. Well, I mean, it still had the fact that Angela wasn't hot. What about that, man? That was a big downer.
Is the spacesuit not doing it for you? Is that the problem?
Yeah. Where's the cleavage in the spacesuit, man? Where's that at?
You know,
Yeah.
nothing says that you can't have cleavage on a time suit.
Yeah. So that was all the major trailers there that you wanted to talk about.
All right.
This one. I'll queue up your review here, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle,
Yeah.
and you can do that. All right. So, Sage has one video game review, and that is going to be for Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. There, Sage, take us away.
Okay. This game, God, this was announced maybe 2 years ago now. Surprisingly short cycle from announcement to release. But this is by Machine Games, who, very well known is behind the modern Wolfenstein franchise. And right away, that just seemed like kind of a perfect match, right? Like, who better to do Indiana Jones, where you're fighting Nazis, than the biggest Nazi killing team out there? And it is totally that perfect match in execution. You have this really wonderful set of gameplay mechanics that feel like they're just dedicated to really giving you the feel of what an Indiana Jones game or experience in general should be. Despite this being a first-person game, there is only a little bit of shooting to it. Uh, Much more of this game is about the exploration, puzzle solving. There's a lot of photography involved in terms of getting snapshots of clues and then putting them together and figuring out what's going on. And if you're like me, you haven't enjoyed something that's come out of this franchise in the last 40 years. And you probably were really hoping to finally see something actually feel like it understands the spirit of these stories and knows how to use this character. And I think they absolutely do. Uh, Troy Baker nails it, I think, as this character. He doesn't always sound exactly like Harrison Ford, but he does always sound like Indiana Jones, if that makes sense. Um, this character feels very revered in the depiction here, but also honestly some of the most complex I think we've ever gotten. Uh, just from it being a longer runtime than any of the movies, I think that there is just more of an opportunity to kind of get in his head a little bit and explore him psychologically in a way that even Raiders and The Last Crusade maybe don't get to go quite as deep into. Uh, this sits, I think, up there with those two movies as kind of a perfect trilogy in a lot of ways. And the mystery of it, that's another big part of it. Like, yeah, maybe you nail Indiana Jones as a character, but what about the mystery? What is he actually looking into? You've got, the Ark of the Covenant and the Holy Grail, right? In these two great movies. And some of the other films, I think, talk about stuff like Crystal Skull in particular. It feels like it's drifting so far away from that kind of supernatural religious artifact that I think makes those stories work so well. And I'm not going to give it away exactly what the big thing at the end of this is, but just know that they are able to pull something off that feels much more in line with those two films, that feel much more like that type of thing, like that style of thing. And another part too that I for a long time have said an untapped potential with this franchise. If you want to do more, I think you need to keep it set in the same era. I think that's one problem with, say, some of the movies that they've done is if you take Indiana Jones out of the kind of just before World War II era and he doesn't have Nazis to fight, I feel like you start to miss a lot of the personality of it. Like he, as a pulp hero, like there's a style of pulp fiction that kind of went away after World War II in a lot of ways too. Like it's very identified with that style of storytelling in that time period. So I've said for a long time, if you want to do another Indiana Jones story, a great thing to explore more of would be fascist Italy, because I feel like you don't really get that much in the movies. Like maybe a tiny bit here and there they bring it up, but for the most part, it's not touched on. And here you get a huge portion of this game that's revolving around figures like Mussolini and spending time in places like the Vatican City and the ruins of Rome underground. That's like kind of just your first major area of the game, and where the DLC that was just revealed is going to take place even further into. Um, but it feels like it understands what the untapped potential of Indiana Jones is. Nobody wants to watch him be old and sad and miserable. All right, no one wants that. People want to see Indiana Jones go on a fun adventure and whip Nazis in the face and discover a religious artifact that kind of goes against his skeptical mindset as someone that's kind of more of a man of science, and to fight against a like Nazi presence that is obsessed with occultism. That's like you don't want things to become too much of a formula, but also if you throw at every part of a formula, you start to lose the identity of what that thing is. And I think that's what's happened with again the Indiana Jones films. But this game, I think it just understands what Indiana Jones is supposed to be so well. And on top of Troy Baker giving a great performance, and I don't want to get too into his character just because I think there's a lot of mystery surrounding him and what exactly is going on. But Tony Todd in this game, I think, is also really awesome. He plays one of the giants that is referenced kind of early on in the game in the trailers, and also is clearly going to be a part of the DLC. And I think they're able to give him like a really solid character arc. He feels like a very well done supporting cast member in this. And for being one of the last things Tony Todd did, I'm just really glad that I guess this feels like a high quality send off to give someone like him.
You mentioned that what you like to see in Indiana Jones and Indiana Jones, people know a little bit of the backstory of it. It was that Steven Spielberg did base it off of the serials of the 40s and kind of the action type things like that back in the day. So it makes sense that that when he's kind of adapting in kind of that period with fighting Nazis, that kind of works a little bit better, maybe more than updated to modern times. And
so much better.
Yeah, that kind of fits a little bit better there. This game, so it's in a first-person perspective. There are third-person perspective moments, but mostly,
yeah.
Does that kind of impact things for you? It being mostly first person.
So it's interesting. I wasn't sure exactly how I'd feel about that going in because I feel like Indiana Jones is the type of character you do kind of want to see him as much as possible because he's such an icon and he's an iconic figure to physically be looking at during gameplay. But I think the third person parts of this are actually a lot more frequent than you would expect them to be.
Okay.
And I think that he achieved a really, really good balance between the two, to where I actually still feel like I got to see Indiana Jones a lot, let alone the cutscenes are also always, right? The cutscenes are never from a first person perspective either. Cutscenes are always, you're fully kind of able to see every character in a scene. They feel like sequences in a film. And you're always getting a lot of that during that story. But anytime you're swinging from your whip, it's third person. Anytime you're climbing a wall, it's third person. There's a lot of third person stuff in here. Like I said, more than I thought there was going to be. So for me, I think it works really well. And also the other part too is Machine Games makes first person games. I don't necessarily want them to just go make a completely third person game just because. I want them to make what they're good at making. And first person is what they know how to do. And they, I think, incorporated a lot more third person than, like I said, than you'd expect them to. So I think they deserve a lot of laurels for that.
Okay. And I know a lot of people, because like Indiana Jones is a character. I don't know how many other people have voice acted that character, or
probably a few in some of the video games, but they used to do a few more of these on like the Wii and like the PS2. But I guarantee Harrison Ford was not doing the voice on those.
Yeah, but just to hear, people want to hear the comparison. So of Harrison Ford to see how closely Troy Baker does it. Here's a little bit.
Maybe, but not today.
Yeah? And you ain't no nun, sweetheart.
Sweetheart, after all the fun we've had together, I understand its power now.
Well, I might not be a priest, but I'm pretty certain stealing is a straight no-hitter with the Ten Commandments. Not entirely certain what the rules are for a reporter. And my mother...
So that's pretty, yeah, pretty spot on, really. I mean,
It's a lot of times you can't even tell it's someone else, and then there are times when you can, but even when you can, it still feels like the character. This is what I mean when I say it's like maybe sometimes he doesn't 100% sound exactly like Harrison Ford, but it always believably sounds like Indiana Jones. But even then, yeah, most of the time it does sound like Harrison Ford. He really does nail it. Then I also want to mention too, I believe her name I've got here, Alessandra Mastronardi. I think I said that right. It's an Italian name. She plays Gina, who is kind of your second main character in the story. And I thought she was incredibly likable here. She's got a great personal arc that she goes through. Um, she doesn't just feel like another interchangeable kind of girlfriend character like maybe some people would worry that could happen in a franchise like this. She's got a great personality. She gives she gives Indy a lot of shit too as they're traveling and working together. But she really does have a great personal story in this. She's looking for a family member who they kind of are unsure of whether she's been kidnapped by the Nazis or is willingly working with them or exactly what's going on. So there's a bit of a mystery there in that situation as well. But I think she comes across as very likable. She's got a lot of spunk to her. She's a great character. And it's like for anybody that's complaining about I forget I forget her name, but the kind of the big female lead in the last film. I know a lot of people were like, it just feels like Indiana Jones is old and miserable, and you want to make a movie about this other character instead. That never happens in the game here. These characters feel like very equal. Like I think this character is very likable. She stands on her toes with Indiana Jones, and he never feels like he's being made to look like a total asshole or something just to make her come across better. Like they feed into each other and support each other as characters in a way that I think really, really works and comes to life.
So she doesn't feel like another Marianne. Marianne.
I actually think she's a better character than Marianne ever was.
Okay.
If I'm being honest.
Gotcha. Okay.
I would say this is probably the best female lead in any of the Indiana Jones stories. So in that way, I like it. I like her character more than parts of even Raiders and Last Crusade.
Okay. What about when Kate Blanchett was a Nazi in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull? She wasn't good female lead.
No.
Okay.
I mean, that character is the whole thing. I have a problem with that movie and just the let's move to the like Cold War Soviet era, whereas like yeah, that's kind of the era of like spies and James Bond, and it's just Indiana Jones to me just does not fit that era of the world in general. It's not even about Kate Blanchett or it being a female character or a Russian character, whatever. You could even do interesting stuff with like the Soviets in the late 1930s, early 40s, World War II time. You could do that. It's more just the like Cold War era that they tried to tell like a whole story in general that I have a problem with.
Mm. Yeah.
Kate Blanchett tries her hardest. She tries her damnedest to make that work. She's a great actress and I love her, but nobody was going to make that work.
But yeah, so yeah, they're there and there. Okay, and this story wise, and you're thinking of Helena Shaw was in the Dial of Destiny. Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
Oh yes, yeah, that's a character I just don't feel like didn't work very well.
Yeah, who Phoebe Waller-Bridge? I mean, I love Fleabag,
and I like her. I do. I think she's good. I think it's the script that fails her.
Yeah. I feel like I don't know. She should do more. Get back to more writing because I love Fleabag. I thought Fleabag was really great. But a lot of her, transition to movies and that has not been great.
Gotta get a better agent.
Yeah. And this story wise, so this takes place between Raiders of the Lost Ark and The Last Crusade. Story wise, this is where this one takes place in between. Is there any references to Raiders or anything like that? Or yeah,
there are, but the ones that pop into my mind are ones that kind of parallel some of the big like later story moments in this that I don't want to spoil.
Okay.
But they surface in, I think, a really cool and interesting way. And the villain here, the kind of main Nazi villain here, it's the way, because like again, I always think we've something we talked about with like Red Skull and the Captain America movie and other films. A Nazi villain is one where you can kind of get away with not giving them a lot of character, like right, like not a lot of deeper character because well, they're Nazi. You can they're some of the few movie villains that you can just make them evil and not do a lot else and still have it work as long as they're charismatic. But here it's interesting. They actually do give him some more character. He's kind of like an Indiana Jones fanboy, where that Indiana Jones keeps going like, ugh, ugh, get away from me. And it's like it's almost making the villain sad that Indiana Jones won't be friends with them. And there's like it's kind of an interesting character dynamic they do that I thought was unique.
Mm, okay. The difficulty of the puzzles, is it like pretty?
I thought it was pretty simple, more complicated than what you're going to run into in Uncharted, but not by a lot. Like there's some moments where, yeah, there's like a little bit of a like a oh, let me take a second, but at the end, I think if you just spend long enough looking at it at things, you'll figure it out fairly quickly.
How long do you have before they give you a big reminder like, "Hey, dummy, it's this," or you know what I mean?
They actually don't at all in
Okay.
this one because a lot of the times, I mean, sometimes you have an NPC with you like the Gina character, but a lot of times when you really get deep into one of these areas, he goes in, the really dangerous part by himself, right, to keep everybody else safe or keep his traveling companion from being, getting totally stuck somewhere. Not that there aren't situations where that happens anyway, but a lot of the big puzzle moments, he's by himself. And he only says something if you go and you look at something that is a clue. So it feels like the way he solves the puzzle in the films a lot. They really capture this feeling of like, well, he's only commenting on something because I took a photo of it. And well, obviously he'd say something because I'm already noticing it's important.
Mm, okay. And the difficulty of the game overall.
I found it to be pretty easy. I maybe died at once or twice in some of the stealth sections. And that's another thing too to mention is I think they actually do a really good job with the stealth because, like I said, you don't shoot a lot in this. Like not, you don't spend a lot of time with a gun in your hands. Like you do at times, but for the most part, I honestly would if when I had a gun, I was turning it around and I was like pistol whipping the Nazi with it instead of shooting them. Um, and the whip is really satisfying. There are areas where there's like so many enemies, like you've got to just sneak. But I actually think this is the best stealth I've seen from machine games in general. Um, 'Cause they've got stealth sequences in their Wolfenstein games, which I do like, but I feel like this really feels like an evolution of those mechanics. And to even kind of add on to that, it feels like not only do they do a great job of depicting Indiana Jones here, but this particular Indiana Jones also has a little bit extra edge, like the Wolfenstein's kind of edge to it, just a little bit. And I thought that worked really, really well.
Yeah. You mentioned the whip and everything like that, so it does have all the sounds and sound
Oh
effects from
yeah,
the movies.
it's
Okay.
it's perfect. It's like they took the sound effects straight out of the archives.
Mm, okay, very cool there. One last question. Do you fight the Pope? Do you fist fight the Pope at all?
You do not fist fight the Pope, but
Ah,
you do get to whip some Italian fascists, and that's pretty satisfying.
okay. All right.
Maybe in the DLC.
Maybe in the DLC we'll get to fight the Pope. Yeah, we'll get to fight fist fight.
Well, it's
Um,
actually interesting because of the real history behind what was going on at the moment. The Pope
I
is
speak
actually,
complete.
I forget if he's dead or if he's just sick, but other people in the church have kind of taken control of the Vatican and allied themselves with Mussolini. And that's a real piece of history that informs what's going on in that part of the world when you're there in the game. So that's something that's also really great is just like the original films, they take place at a particular moment in time, so details of the real world bleed into things in a way that's really cool.
hmm, okay, cool, very nice. And you played this on the PlayStation 5?
Yes, I did. I waited. I had to wait until the PlayStation version came out.
Mm, okay, and
But
that was
it actually is funny enough. It runs smoother than the Xbox version.
mm, Okay. So a nice smooth version. So you had no issues, no glitches, no anything with that with the PS5.
Not even one. And I even went and watched some videos of other people that were comparing the performances side by side, and it is actually a smoother, more consistent frame rate on the PlayStation.
Mm, okay. Very cool. So what will be your final thoughts and rating for Indiana Jones and the Great Circle?
And I gotta say, this game feels pretty special. Indiana Jones, I think, is a franchise that's been mistreated for about 40 straight years and has just never really lived up to its classic days. And somehow, Machine Games was able to just make everybody look like they weren't trying that hard. I think they nailed it. This feels like it could have been another film that released in the 80s with how it handles its story. In some ways, it gets even deeper into him as a character. I think this is like if like this makes a real Indiana Jones trilogy to me. Like I don't hate Temple of Doom, but it's not nearly as good as Raiders or Last Crusade. I don't think. This is. I think this is right up there with those two films. And yeah, I'd give it the this is cinema. I mean, this is something that, especially if like you're older and you're older, you do play games, and you remember when those movies were coming out. I think this is definitely a this is cinema for someone like that because it feels like they actually managed to capture nostalgia in a good way and do this justice. And something I never honestly kind of thought was never going to happen again.
Are there any talks already of a sequel? Another game?
I haven't heard anything, but I do know that there's a Wolfenstein 3 that's going to be in development. So that's supposed to be kind of the cap of that series as like a trilogy. So, if that takes like 4 to 5 years to come out, and then it would be another 4 to 5 years for whatever the next game is. So if they do another Indiana Jones game, it's going to be a while in between, and you'll actually miss the franchise. They're not going to like pump one out and just get another one going just because this was successful or because it made money. There'll actually be like a big gap in time. And with how well they did, I mean, I would completely trust them to do another one.
Awesome. So this is cinema from Sage for Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. If you're a big Indiana Jones fan, you might
Big Indiana Jones fan.
You would definitely probably like this. Awesome. We're gonna be heading out of here. Yeah, long show. Thank God we did that state of announcement already.
No, that would have added another 40 minutes.
Yeah. So very awesome there. Geekdom is on. He's playing that Clear Obscure Expedition. I go ahead and maybe rate him or Dante. He's playing that Doom Dark Ages. But
good choices.
let me know what people can find. What we got going on? What you got coming up next, man?
Yeah, man, you can find me over at Rated M for Immaturity over on Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, all under that exact same name. Tomorrow will be our last Claire Obscure Expedition 33 stream. We're going to mop up a bunch of side content. We've already finished the story. And then the week after that, we're going to be playing Indiana Jones with the Great Circle, the one we just talked about. So good stuff. After that, we already got our next game lined up. We'll do Doom the Dark Ages. We got, the next couple of months basically planned out already. So.
Very nice. So this is you on YouTube right here. People can check you out. Right, and Maturity. If people can't watch your streams, they can check out all the various games you played there over the course of the history of your channel. All games of all different genres there. You got RPGs there. You got horror games. You got fighting games. You got action adventure games. All types of different games, all right here on Rated M for Immaturity channel right there. You got
and it's growing all the time.
All the time there. Resident Evil, Ratchet and Clank, Dark Souls, Until Dawn there. Hotline Miami. You got Batman Arkham Asylum. Very good. Octodad. You got that right there. Good old Octodad. That's a game you compare to Baby Steps right there, right?
Yeah, because it's all about the whole thing of it is just it's very difficult to get anywhere and move around. It's like the game is designed for the movement to be what the difficulty is. And when we streamed this, we were playing it each person got to control a single limb. So it was actually 4 of us playing as one character, which makes it infinitely more difficult to play.
Very nice. But if you want to check that out, all on your channel right there. I'm gonna go ahead. Let me go ahead and raid Dante. I'm raiding him in a minute there. He's playing that Clay Obscure Expedition. He's playing that Doom Dark Age. Sorry, he's playing that.
There you go.
Are you guys almost done with that?
Doom: The Dark Ages. I am like roughly almost at the halfway point, and Ulysses is almost done. But I think I can finish it this week for sure before next Monday.
Okay. But I heard you guys aren't really loving it like you thought you would, huh?
Well, the thing is we do like it. We think it is actually even great. It's just that the last game that came out, Eternal, we both agree is like perfect. So even a great game is a little bit of a step down from a perfect game. That does not mean this is not great, but there's little things, and when we do the review, we'll get into details about why we maybe feel that way. But what I'll almost say for now is that it's like leftovers of your favorite meal. It's not fresh, so it's not as good, but it's still one of your favorite meals.
Okay. All right. I do have it on Game Pass. So I do have that on there. Summer Rain Dante. Upcoming streams Friday. Hopefully Nick and Dust can join me. Doing a review there of The Materialist, doing a review there of How to Train Your Dragon, and maybe The Life of Chuck. Saturday, doing maybe a retro review of How to Train Your Dragon there. Sunday, doing a review for Tangerine. And then hopefully Sage can join me Monday and finally get to this Andor season 2. Finally do the Andor, good old season 2. Maybe Sage has another video game review up on deck there.
Hopefully Doom.
Hopefully Doom there. And maybe anime if we can get to it. Maybe an anime review there as well. All right, people. Yeah, that's what we got. Thank you, Sage, for sticking me with this long, man. Much appreciated. Very, very
Absolutely.
good there. Make sure to check him out. Put your links in the description below. As always, send you over to Dante. Everybody, stay tuned.